I'll call this Bang Bang. Seriously?
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. Pull up, bitch.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up.
Objection. Objection.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. KO. Bang bang.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. You're a bitch, bro.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up.
Bang, bang.
Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang.
Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, bang.
All right, Mr. Lally, your next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the Commonwealth will call Trooper Michael Proctor to the stand. State your name and spell your last name for the jury.
Michael Proctor, 𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃.
You're a bitch, bro.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
I'm going to allow it.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
I'm going to allow it.
Bang, bang.
My name's Aidan Kearney.
Known online as
Turtle Boy and is a senior editor for
TBDailyNews.com.
They call me
Dr. Turtle Boy.
It's my preferred pronoun. Daddy.
What's up, Daddy?
Journalism Jesus. Timothy Kearney.
The one and only Turtle Boy.
Turtle Boy. What's up, Slick? The doctor is here.
This guy's a bad motherfucker.
That's right, the intro.
I've broken a lot of major stories. I've been doing it for about 11 years. I used to be a high school teacher.
Turtle Boy has changed a lot over the years. I was once a blogger, but now I'm much more accurately known as an award-winning journalist, a satirist, and an activist. Boom!
They're screaming your name here.
You're the crowd daddy.
Crazy.
People either love me or hate me.
Listen, Turtle, all right?
But either way, they're watching.
Don't make such fun of the criminal justice system.
Stop it. I'm never gonna stop. This fight's just getting started. Now let's get this party started. Yo! What's up, turtle people? How's everyone doing out there tonight? Good? Good, excellent. Welcome to a special Hump Day edition of the Turtle Boy Live Show. It has the exact same name as last night's live show because I didn't get to any of the topics that I intended to speak on last night. There was only 2 topics. I got to none of them because I spent about an hour going down the Twisted Tragedies rabbit hole, which I feel I could have spent longer on that. And then Mike Crawford came on, and that was interesting for about 15 minutes. And then who else came on? It was like, I don't even know what we did. I don't even know. It is what it is, bro. So anyway, it was an interesting show. So we're going to do the show we intended to do last night tonight, and it's going to be dope. And I hope you guys had a good time last night. I did enjoy last night's show very much. It was interesting. And, we could talk more about that another time, but I want to get to the business tonight. All right. Plus, you guys deserve an extra show. Fuck it. Especially the members, especially the green people. You guys, I like you guys more. No offense to the people without green, but greens are my favorite now. So, all the members that we have there, join membership. I don't know what you're going to get out of it. You'll definitely get a green name. That's one thing I can guarantee you. But look at that. Look at that. Okay, cool. Anyway, guys. So anyway, if you're new here, welcome to my YouTube presentation. My name is Aidan Kearney. I go by a variety of nicknames. My true crime nickname is 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 when I'm solving mysteries deep in the woods in my leather jacket. You can call me Journalism Jesus, as you can see, if you're spiritual. You can call me Uncle Turtle Boy. Old school turtle riders call me that. You can just call me Turtle Boy will do. That'll be just fine. You can call me Dr. Turtle Boy, which I prefer, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's my preferred pronoun of choice, because if 𝗄𝗲𝗵𝗺 is a doctor, then I'm definitely a doctor too. You can call me Daddy. For some people, that might be weird, but for others, it might be fun, playful, flirtatious, and lead to some things. Who knows? You can call me Fridge Daddy, Theater Daddy, whatever. What other daddies? Crowd Daddy. That's what Alan Jackson calls me. All good. I don't care what you call me. Just do me a favor and smash that subscribe button for me. Do that for me. That's all I really want from you. Help me get back to 163,000. Help me get back to 163,000. That's all I want. Let me see. What are we at now? Let's see. We are at 162,000. There we go. 634. So we only need 300, whatever, to get to 163,000. It's the war, right? The 3-week-old war we're on now. I forget what day. And that's the thing about war is everybody, people, there's casualties in wars on both sides. Like, I don't think anyone has come out of this war unscathed. We've all suffered as a result of this war, because people are like, oh, I'm with this channel, so I'm just unsubbing from these channels. Take that. I won't be subbing you. To watch your videos, they won't come up in my algorithm anymore. I will simply search for them in the search bar, and then I will watch your show, because the views haven't gone down. The views are just fine. Like, I'm getting just as many views as I did before. But it is what it is. But anyway, if you want to have your messages read out loud to the class tonight, I don't do super chats because they take 30%. So we just built our own thing. It's called Turtle Chats. If you click at the link at the top, that brings you to something called Turtle Chat. When you do that, you can give me whatever amount of money you want to give me. And let me pull this up here. And you get to write your own little message on it. Okay. And it is up there. That's nice to see. Or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtle Boy, and I will also read your message if you so choose to do it that way. All right. So let me pull, let's see what we got for Turtle Chat so far. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. See if we have any thus far. Today is the 15th, I believe. All right. Carrie sends $10 and goes, loving, what'd she say? Loving something? Loving me time with my dog Furry and my favorite turtle. And I leave to agree. No bushy cunts and no crabs for all. Love and respect the hell out of you, Dr. Fridge Daddy. Who, Dr. Fridge Daddy? I like that. And good luck. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. No bushy cunts. Agreed. Rachel sends $25 and goes, coming from someone who's been stalked and harassed by a scumbag grifter for the past 13 years, I want to say thank you for exposing these horrible people. They are jealous and want nothing more than to take away from you what they don't have. Keep up the fight for those of us who have been victimized by these people. I can't expose my grifter at the advice of my attorney, but to that loser, I say die a slow death, motherfucker. Okay, that's morbid, but I'm sorry. And also shout out to my husband. It's his birthday. Well, happy birthday, husband of Rachel. I appreciate that. Mr. Dickhead sends $10, goes, free Turtle Boy, ignore the noise, focus on what matters, and Ian Whiffin is a cunt. All right, can I tell you guys something real quick? It's just on my mind. It's just bothering me. So there's like one there's like one or two restaurant / bars in town in Holden, right? It's not a big place. And one of them is called Quinn's. And I go there like a lot with the kids because, again, it's just better than going to Worcester, just closer. And it's fine. It's good. Nice place. So we go there a lot. So I went there on Saturday night. I was there, right? And I got a text message when I was there. And it said the following, okay? It was like disturbing. Hold on. And I think I read this to you guys the other night on the show, right? And so it said, how's Quinn's pedo? Back to prison soon, turtle bitch. Okay. And then today I go back. I went back there because I haven't gone grocery shopping. And so I'm with my son and I'm like, well, not really much to eat here. Let's just go to Quinn's. Okay. So I go there and I'm like, okay, who did that? Who's texting me that? It was like somebody just at the bar and saw me there and like they told somebody. Is there a tracker on my car? That's something I always have to think about. Is there shit in my phone, some software? So what's going on here? You know, how the fuck that bothered me. That did bother me. Right. And then today we go back there with just me and my son and I'm eating a meal of food. Right. I got another text and it says, back at Quinn's without your toddler mistress this time. She's like, what? And then it goes, she's only a few years older than your son, pedo. So they know I'm with my son. Like he mentions my fucking son. Okay. And I'm like, what? So that's got to be an employee, right? Like that's fucking like what is happening right now? Am I like it has like it? So it can't. I'm like doing the math. I'm like, it can't be somebody. It can't be a tracker on my car because they know I have my son with me. Like you put a tracker on my car, you're gonna know where I'm at. You're not gonna know who's with me. You know, you put some shit in my phone, they'll know my location. I don't even know if you could do that, but like you're not gonna know who's with me. Like to know my son is there, like with me. That's very specific information, right? And it's the same restaurant, right? It's happened twice at the same restaurant. That's fucking crazy, right? I mean, I feel like I should speak to the owner about that because I love that place, but I'm like, I don't even know what they would do. I mean, what's he going to do? Take all their phones and be like, show me all your phones. And you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't even know what they would do about that. But fucked up. It's like disturbing. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, that's I bring that up because like that's a day in my life. Like I deal with shit like this all the time. And it just, when I hear people whine about me, what I do to them, oh, I'm going to go get an order on you, Turtle Boy, because you exposed what I did. You're a bad person, Turtle Boy. Oh my God, this is horrible. It's the worst thing ever. I can't leave my house. It's so bad. Bitch, you don't have people texting you when you're out to dinner with your kids telling me we're watching you. You don't have that shit. And we know exactly where you're at. Like, who the fuck says that? You know? Fucking bizarre. Like, the fact that they knew I was there with my son, that was, like, disturbing. But anyway, so that's me. It's just, it annoyed me because I'm like, I mean, whatever. I just brush it off, and it's like, it's fucking weird, and I don't even know how to get to the bottom of this. I feel like I never will. Like, we never found out who killed the turtle. You guys remember that? When they got, maybe newer people don't know about this. 2 days, right? After my mother died, right? On the day of the Karen Reed mistrial, July 1st, 2024, a murdered turtle is found on my parents' property, right? On the banister, on the stairs leading up to the house. The turtle has a hole in its head or in its neck, and a rope has gone through the neck, and it is hanging from the banister. Like that. We don't talk about that enough. That's fucking insane at my parents' house on the day of the Karen Reed mistrial of all days. That happens 2 days after my mom died at her house. And they just never found out who did it. I mean, the Worcester police investigated. They actually did an investigation, unlike the Canton police. They like went up and down the street, knocking on doors, asking for ring cameras. And I remember the detective told me that, like, he's like, I've never seen a street that has this little amount of ring cameras. Like, this never happens. Like, it's like, it must just be a street where just a lot of boomers live on that street. I don't know. But it is disappointing because I'm like, whoever did that got away with it. Like, that's crazy. That's fucking nuts, dude. Who does that? I always assumed it was Steve Cody because I couldn't, but I gave them the name Steve Cody. And because Steve Cody, if you don't know him, he's a goddamn nut job. He just got out of jail yesterday, I believe. And he's just a psychopath who he had sent to my parents' house before. He had sent that 1-800-GOT-JUNK truck to the house. He also sent to their house Chinese food, a Quran. He has like a whole list of calling cards that he sends to your house and a whole bunch of pizzas. Like, remember I used to get pizza sent to my house during the show? I used to assume it was the haters. No, it was Steve Cody. Just Steve Cody. He's a fucking piece of shit, psychopath. And it had to be him. Who else would do it? Like, I just couldn't, like, he sent shit to my parents' house before. Who else could possibly do this but him? Like, this is not, Krusty's not killing a fucking turtle. Fake Victim's not killing a turtle. Like, yeah, they crazy enough to, motive to, sure, but like, they're not killing a fucking turtle. Like, Steve Cody might kill a turtle. He definitely might kill a turtle. And yeah, but anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, let me read a couple more. Okay. Next up is from Kira, sends $5, goes, how many members are we up to? Let's see. I'll go check right now. How many members do we have? Let's see. Refresh this. We have 270 members. That was quick. Nice. Not too shabby. I'll take it. All right. So yeah, welcome aboard, new members. All right, next. JFK's and Mike's rep sends $10 and goes, sir, you failed to submit your request for approval for today's live. Sanctions will be imposed. So I'm sorry about that very much, sir. You know, it is what it is. Although, you know, I did notice today there is a Twitch Twat broadcast today with the koala motherfucker, as I called him. And he's like getting on like Krusty level obsessed with me, like getting up there. Like, prior to going on that Spaces, I never interacted with him. I don't think I just had him blocked because he must have just annoyed me. I block a lot of people. And, but you know, I did listen a little tonight, and it's like, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy, because nothing made me happier than seeing the people that were on the speakers there, particularly Twisted Tragedies and some guy named Nate Bartels. I've shared his Twitter before. He is the guy who organized a protest, right? In favor. He was going to protest outside of Karen Reed's hotel, and then no one showed up. Literally no one. And somebody asked him who showed up, but he's like, no one. And so this is what, I mean, keep in mind, the people that are doing this, that are organizing this, are allegedly supporters of Karen Reed, right? Allegedly supporters of Karen Reed. And they're mad at me, right? In defense of Karen Reed. Okay, that's the thing here, right? We support Karen so much. Turtle Boy's a bad guy. We have her back. Okay. And now they are associating with and platforming entirely anti-Karen Reed panels, like entirely. Like, they're just like, and the funniest part tonight was when Lily True Crime Kangaroo, who I'll be candid with you. I spoke to her last night and we had a pleasant conversation, and I'm okay with her again. You know, I'm willing. See, I forgive and forget. You know what I mean? That's the way I am. I've always believed that a good discussion between two people can heal wounds, you know, if you will. And so I don't mind her anyway. I'm okay with her now, even though it's been a rough couple weeks there. Let's just put it that way. But I'm okay with her now, right? Not trusting her. She's not like my friend or, you know what I mean? But it's just like, whatever. I don't need to make her. Maybe I said some shit that offended her too. I don't fucking know. Whatever. We're not going to be best friends. It is what it is. Okay. And anyway, so on there, it just made me happy. And he also defended, like, so Lily, True Crime Kangaroo, was referring to her as crusty, right? And the koala motherfucker jumped in and he like defended the honor of crust. He said, hey, not cool, mate. This is very derogatory. All right. We don't want to be calling her that. And so like, I am just so happy to see that the people who are free Karen Reed, whatever, have, we love Karen Reed so much that we are going to platform and have an entire panel full of people who, including 40% of the food stamp 5, right? And we are just going to be like, yes, it's great. You know, like these are our new allies, and they have to be looking around and being like, wait a minute. Did we get on the wrong ship here? Like, what happened? If you've ever find yourself aligned with them, just remember, those people wanted Karen Reed in jail for the rest of her life and actively worked to do that. And y'all motherfuckers are sitting there talking about drama for 3 weeks over this. Like, that's where your priorities are right now. I just want to point out the absurdity of that. Okay. Like, no matter who I get mad at or whatever, I can tell you right now, anybody who thought Karen Reed was guilty is unwelcomed on my show ever. I don't want to hear your point of view. And that includes on any topic moving forward. This is a life thing. If you joined the Karen Reed is guilty movement, right? You have no character. You are too retarded to have any thoughts on anything. Sports, politics, nothing. This is the most basic test of retardation ever. Was John O'Keefe hit by a car? If your answer to that is anything but absolutely fucking not, then you cannot ever have a conversation with me and expect me to take you seriously on any matter, on anything, ever. Like, it is an absolute line in the sand of which I will not fucking cross ever. And this is from somebody who obviously there's a bit of a well-publicized personality conflict between Karen Reed and myself. But that does not change the fact that she is 1,000,000% innocent, always has been, always will be, and I will never forget. And the people that wanted her in jail, right, would do the same to someone else. They're sick. They're fucking sick. They're absolutely fucking sick. And if you're on there kissing their asses, saying, don't call them crusty. Oh no, you can't do that. Twisted tragedies. She's such a good person. Oh no, we should be nice to her. Fuck that. They wanted to put an innocent person in jail for the rest of their lives. We should wish them nothing but pain, misery, humiliation, failure, all of it. That's what you should want that from them, right? Jesus has taught us, and this is not regular Jesus, journalism Jesus has preached in the scriptures to hate them. Like, it was in the unpublished part of the Bible. Okay. There was an extra, it was Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Turtle Boy. Okay. That they erased a whole chapter there. And that was the revenge part of the Bible was the best part. Okay. And so, yeah, anyway, that's that. All right. Next. I just have no. It's like it's been 4 months since she was acquitted, and it's like we've forgotten. Like I'll never forget. No amnesty, none. This is a lifetime decision these people made. Lifetime, absolutely. Next, look of disappointment from Dale 𝗵𝗂𝗃's father. That's got to be Jimmy. Sends $15 and just says AIDS. Thanks, Jimmy. All right. Joellen sends $25, goes free Turtle Boy. Ignore the noise. Go Pack Go from nobody in California. Okay. Nobody. Thank you. Next up, we have a couple cash apps here. Yeah. And it says, let's see what we have. We have Blurred Line sends $10, goes, Quins will know who was working both those shifts. Yeah, it's either got to be someone who was working or a patron that was there both nights. The odds on it are on an employee more, I think. But, I mean, it's just unsettling, man. It's like, but I don't even know what the owner would do. Is he going to be like, give me all your phones? Like, what's he going to do? Real talk. If I was an employee there, I'd be like, no. You know what I mean? I don't know. Lisa sends $10, goes, I named my robot vacuum Turtle Boy. It's the best, and you are too. Well, thank you. I have a vacuum named after me. That's great. But I don't suck, unlike the vacuum. EMC sends $10, goes, oh, no, this was yesterday. Okay, cool. If anyone else wants their message read out loud to the class, click the link at the top for Turtle Chat, or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtle Boy. Okay, we're going to jump right into the content now, right? No drama for now. Maybe we'll hit on that at the end. Who knows? But we got to talk about douchebag McGee, Sir Ian Whiffin, and his horrible, annoying bimbo blonde propaganda friend there from Cellebrite. Let's go over this. I had no idea Cellebrite had a YouTube channel either before this. Okay. Was this the one? Was it a live video? Was it the first one? Hold on. This is the video, right? Hold on. Or is this the video?
This case is like a super onion.
Infamous Google search cost long to dying to cold.
Cellebrite updated physical analyzer.
This Google search became a pivotal piece of evidence for the defense.
Right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Ask the Expert. I'm Heather Barnhart, and I'm here with Ian Whiffin, the infamous genius who was tied to the Karen Reed trial. We are here for the very first time to discuss this with you.
We are coming on the air with breaking news. Karen Reed walking out of court with hand over heart and a major win in her murder trial redo.
Just to catch you up, in case you've lived under a rock or avoided social media in the news, Karen Reed is a Massachusetts woman who earlier this summer was acquitted of murder in her boyfriend's tragic death. This was her second trial. So, Ian,
I'm going to skip all the stuff about this. We already know the whole story.
This is where the conspiracies really came out. The police officers apparently were involved and covered it up.
What?
So everyone has their own opinions. We've seen them all over social media, but that's really the basics of the case. This case is like a super onion with so many layers. The more you peel back, you're like, what is actually happening? It was a media circus, extremely high profile, and our very own Ian Whiffin was kind of the ringmaster at times of that circus. So Ian, seriously, I applaud you.
Okay, so we just talk about the production here. I mean, this is you want to prove that like we are a legit company, right? We are not a joke. We don't just change shit up in the middle of shit to protect the McAlberts, right? And so what are we going to use? Well, we'll just do this kind of white background here, this cheap white background with like a bad green screen where he's like disappearing into the screen like I do at the start of chats with like a really small name here for some reason. We can't make that any bigger. And like, what's with all the white space, just unnecessary white space? I think I don't even know. This is just such a visually bootleg presentation. I can't believe
one for your patience and not flipping out. I know many times I wanted to flip out on your behalf. So I was emotionally in this with you, but you did a fantastic job. For those of you that don't know Ian, he's not just the brilliant mind of forensics. He is also our decoding manager here at Cellebrite. So Ian takes all the things that are stored in that lovely brain of his and tries to dump it back into the tools for everyone else that needs Ian's brain to help us solve our digital forensic investigations. All right, Ian, you ready for some questions?
I am. Go for it.
And then we'll have some fun at the end too. All right, why were you brought into this case?
Okay. So I initially got involved in this case after a true crime podcaster contacted Cellebrite asking for clarification because of some things that he'd seen in other people's blogs, some things that had been tweeted related to an artifact that Physical Analyzer had passed.
So anybody know who that is? It can't. Don't say it's Phelps, because Phelps didn't come around until basically during the second trials, when Phelps came around, when he first started interviewing me. So it can't be him. So who is the podcast? Was it? Was it 𝗵𝗲𝗺? Was it actually Do not even tell me it was 𝗵𝗲𝗺. Do not even tell me it was 𝗵𝗲𝗺. Tell me it can't be fucking 𝗵𝗲𝗺. Okay. I hope not. I really fucking hope not. That would be disturbing.
Basically, police had obviously extracted a bunch of phones at the time of John's death, done their own analysis, including the analysis of a witness's device, which was written off at the time as not containing anything relevant to the case. About a year later, defense experts took that same extraction and ran it through Physical Analyzer as well, and now found a timestamp which they thought was a smoking gun.
Which they thought was.
The timestamp itself was related to a Google search, the infamous Google search, "How long to die in the cold," which is an obvious misspelling of the term "how long to die in the cold." I'll say that this search had actually been found initially by police using Physical Analyzer 752, but at that time, the timestamp attached to it was around 623, 620.
That's completely untrue. Listen to what he just said. This is false. Listen to what he just says. Who can tell me what's false about this? What he just said.
And ran it through Physical Analyzer as well. About a year later, defense experts took that same extraction and ran it through Physical Analyzer as well, and now found a timestamp which they thought was a smoking gun. The timestamp itself was related to a Google search, the infamous Google search, "How long to die in the cold," which is an obvious misspelling of the term "how long to die in the cold." I'll say that this search had actually been found initially by police.
This search was initially found by police. What search?
Using Physical Analyzer 752. But at that time, the timestamp attached to it was around 6:23, 6:24 a.m.
So at the time, police found, when police first went through Jennifer McCabe's phone, they found the search at 6:23, 6:24. What's wrong with that statement? What's wrong with that statement? Who knows? Anybody know? Does the chat know? I'm looking for the chat. Let's see who gets this right. Yeah, they didn't find it. That's the correct answer, Mary. The police didn't find anything. Not only did the police not find a 227 search, they didn't find a 623 search or a 624 search. They found no searches. None. They handed in her phone and they're like, yep, nothing suspicious about that. They didn't. Guarino said he didn't find anything. There was no Google searches on there at all. Nothing. Nothing. Because I'll tell you one thing. If the defense, or exactly, Emily, exactly. What happened to the Google searches is the same thing that happened to Kate Peters' text messages with Lindsay Gattani in her cell phone extraction, or Brian Tully's messages with Lindsay Gattani in her cell phone extraction. They disappeared, right? And the police, the extractor, has the ability to check a box and make sure shit doesn't come up. They can just do that. Brian Tully ultimately is the person who can do that. So Brian Tully or Nicholas Guarino, most likely Tully, has the ability to do that. And what a coincidence, his messages disappeared from the fake victim's phone. Just his, no one else's. And some of 𝗵𝗄𝗄𝗧, after they start talking about Tully, those disappear too. Right? So if Alan Jackson and David Yannetti and company had found the 624 search, or 623, 624 search for How Long to Die in Cold, right off the bat, what do you think they would have done? Do you think they would have been like, oh, okay, well, that's not suspicious at all? Because I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, the 227 search is the smoking gun for sure. But the 624 search is also fucking suspicious. Also that's very suspicious too. If I were them, I'd be like, wait a minute, what? While she was outside her sister's house and before entering the house, she Googled 𝗺𝗃 𝗺𝗃? Why the fuck would she do that? That would be my first question. I'd be like, wait, what? They're acting like the 624 search isn't suspicious either. Like the 227 search is the smoking gun. But the 624 search, as the kids say, is sus. Like, what is up with that? Who would ever think to Google that outside the house? You got Karen Reed, one of the firefighters testified that Karen Reed asked him, how long would it take for him to get hypothermia out there? Like, you would ask a paramedic, would you not? But not Jennifer McCabe. No, she asks Jeeves. She goes on her phone and Googles that shit. Oh, okay. Right. But so Whiffen has this wrong. He doesn't know the facts.
After John's body had been found and therefore deemed not evidentially significant. However, when the expert for the defense took the same data, they used a newer version of Physical Analyzer. This newer version had additional support. Obviously, we always add support for new artifacts as time goes on. And this new artifact support for a database called Browser State gave a timestamp of 2:27 a.m. For that same Google search. And that's important. 2:27 is a really important time because that would mean that this is around 3.5-4 hours before John's body was found, implying that somebody had some knowledge that he was outside dying in the cold before anybody should have known that was the case.
Of course.
So this Google search became a pivotal piece of evidence for the defense to try to prove that someone other than Karen was responsible for John's death.
So a few things. I have many comments on this one. Cellebrite updated physical analyzer based upon your research and what you learned in that.
First of all, it's called Cellebrite. She can't even pronounce the name of her own company, but go ahead.
Case so that people who don't understand how to validate don't have time to validate, and for better lack of other terms, press buttons to get answers. The answer will be correct in their face going forward.
Here, I want to hear that again. I want to hear that again.
A few things. I have many comments on this one. Cellebrite updated physical analyzer based upon your research and what you learned in that case, so that people who don't understand how to validate don't have time to validate, and for better lack of other terms, press buttons to get answers.
Okay, so literally we learned this at the trial, but it's still insane. They updated their software based on the case. Like based on this case, they didn't like the fact that Jennifer McCabe Googled this at 2:27. They didn't like that. So they updated their software to make sure that it didn't come up. That's insane. It's like getting rid of the bloody knife. It's like, yeah, we're just going to make it disappear digitally. And by the way, their competitor, Axiom, it still comes up on theirs, on their updated software. But they literally create software that is specifically designed to make sure the 227 search doesn't come up. Okay. Sure thing.
The answer will be correct in their face going forward.
Yes, I think we always try to provide information which is correct to the best of our knowledge and ability at the time based on the research. We always want to give information which can be verified by the examiners. And in this case, once I started to look at the data and look at the evidence, I determined that the timestamp in the browser state database was related to the time that the tab, so the browser tab actually took focus, and not the time that the search occurred or the navigation event occurred. So essentially, if you imagine opening up a brand new tab at 10 a.m. in the morning, using it to surf for 30 minutes or so, visiting numerous web pages during that time. When you eventually close that tab, a record is created in the browser state database saying the tab opened at 10 a.m. The last page that was visited, the one that was visited at like 10:30, is this. So there's no correlation between the two. And that's essentially what my research was focusing on, that timestamp is not necessarily the time the page was visited. It could be before, it could be after, but it's irrelevant to the actual URL. So based on that, we updated our decoding to remove any kind of confusion and to ensure that we give you the web page that was visited, but we can't say that this is the time. So we just remove the time altogether because we don't.
And I think that's way better.
And what kind of bootleg software are you running? Like your job is to extract data and give us information on shit, and you're like, yeah. So our software just doesn't. There's just like a gigantic fucking glitch in the software. unless you use a brand new tab, which, I don't know what you guys do. I feel like most of the time, I don't know. It's a good question. Like, what % of my searches are from a new tab versus an old tab? Like, I don't know about you guys. When I click Safari, whatever comes up first. So I have StreamYard. That's like, because that's my most recent thing on there. I don't open a new tab. I don't know about you guys. I just use this tab. If I want to go to, okay, I'll go to Google something. You know what I mean? Holden Pizza. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Boom. We do it that way. I just use the same tab. I don't know about you guys. So apparently what you're telling me is that every time I use this tab, if I were to run this through Cellebrite, it would give me the same fucking time, right? Because I'm using the old tab. So it's based on when the old tab was opened, right? I mean, this is insane. This is fucking stupid. This makes no sense whatsoever. So every time somebody reused a tab on Safari, it just reverts to the original time that tab was open. What? Because that's what they're saying with Jennifer McCabe, is that, she was using a tab that had been opened 4 hours earlier for a search about ozone basketball. And that's why it came up as that time. That is literally what they're saying. That is how bootleg and retarded their software is. The industry standard, by the way. That is how bootleg and retarded their stuff was until Sir Ian Whiffin came along and fixed that shit. He's like, oh, wow, this program is retarded and completely unreliable. And as it turns out, we have been using the wrong timestamps on every fucking Google search that doesn't use a new tab, a new Safari tab. Every single time you reuse an old tab, it gives you the wrong time. Every single time. Okay. And then Ian Whiffin came along. He's like, I fixed that shit. But I fixed it based on the Kearney case. This is just insane. I can't believe this is real.
Better. And something I wanted to comment to some of the social media trolls who have zero digital forensics knowledge in their bodies, but think they know better.
Oh, this cunt. Oh, fuck you, bitch. Oh, good Lord. So what did she say? I want to play that one more time.
We don't.
And I think that's way better. And something I wanted to comment to some of the social media trolls who have zero digital forensics knowledge in their bodies, but
so we have zero digital forensic. So we're not experts. We're not experts. We're just really stupid. And we look at something that says search 227 in 40 seconds, state status deleted. We see that, but we're just stupid. We don't know what that means. We're not smart like her. We don't write software in order to benefit Jennifer McCabe. We don't do that. We're not smart. We're just trolls. Silly us.
Think they know better than our very own Ian Whiffin.
Our very own.
Tools cannot be static in nature. A static tool should never be used in a forensic lab ever, because technology is constantly changing. These apps change, browsers change, and we adapt to it. So we have to just keep the research going and keep feeding our tools and making them better.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we have to update our tools constantly to account for bugs that may exist in our software, bugs that may exist in the applications that we're decoding, changes made by vendors, or simply because our understanding changes. And this is a perfect example of where the testing that was originally done focused on a particular use case, but this case brought to light additional use cases and different ways that data can be populated, and the possibility that timestamp probably isn't accurate.
Probably.
So what you're really saying, Ian, is that Cellebrite chose to make the tool better for users, and we weren't trying to be some part of the giant conspiracy of Karen Reed.
So yeah. See, we're just trying to make the tools better for Jennifer McCabe. That's who you're trying to make your tools better for, Jennifer McCabe, and more importantly, Michael Morrissey. That's who you're really trying to make it better for, because the Norfolk County DEA's office pays Cellebrite hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, according to public records requests. So they're what's called a customer, right? And the customer is always right. And if the customer is unhappy with the time that Jennifer McCabe Googled 227, or Googled how long to die in cold, well, you best believe they're going to cater to the customer. They're going to give the customer what they want to hear. Insane.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we would never modify our decoding or our tool for any other reason than to do what we think is forensically best. We want to give the users the information that we believe is accurate. And in this case, this particular artifact is super easy to validate. You can get any test device and test this out yourself. If we were to modify our software for any kind of nefarious purpose, it wouldn't take long before users realized and quite rightly took us to task for doing things wrong. Right? We only do things because we think it's right.
Oh, right. That's
well, Ian, I thank you for your time and what you do for this community and for our viewers. Next up, part 2. We're going to discuss testifying in court. Best practices, how to be cool and calm and collected like Ian himself, especially in a case like this that is so conspiracy driven, where there are people that firmly believe one way or the other. They were willing to like put themselves out there on the line for is she guilty, is she not guilty? We're also going to have some fun. We're going to read some of the mean tweets that were thrown Ian's way by the social media trolls of the world.
I mean, this is just such bullshit. Like we're going to bring up like the lowest common denominator and people saying mean things. And we're going to talk again. Is that where they're going with this? I haven't watched the second part yet. We're going to watch together. Do they have open comments? They do. Oh, retarded. That's nice and easy. There we go. Retarded. There's nothing else to say but that. How is no one else commented on? How am I the first person to comment on this? Okay. Retarded. Interesting. Okay, next. And then, so here's the second part.
This was another level.
Let the evidence speak to you.
Karen saying that I was right is...
I just saw this tweet.
I knew I was right with it.
So what are you Whiffen? And we're discussing the Karen Reed case. If you didn't watch part 1, go back and spend the time to understand how Ian got involved in this case.
They all get deleted?
Oh, they and what the key digital evidence actually was. So Ian let the evidence tell the truth, and he simply testified to that truth. In part 2, we want to focus on that. So Ian was amazing in court. The judge was even smiling at you, Ian, when you were done testifying. I felt like everyone wanted to give you a round of applause. But in addition to this case taking its own life form, the Karen Reed supporters, all the noise at the courthouse, so much media chatter everywhere, you turned off your notifications. You were getting distracted by all of the noise. Before we even talk about how you prepared to do that, I will say, even in the Idaho murder prep, when I asked you, Ian, should I watch these things? Should I listen to these things? You're like, absolutely not. Isolate yourself. That was some of the best advice that I think all of us could take. You need to let the evidence speak to you and not really let social media or the conspiracy theorists out there sway you in one way or another. All right, so we're going to talk about prepping, Ian. Prepping for this case, which we know you spent many, many hours.
Just the tone about like the way she talks about the conspiracy theorists, you know, the people who follow logic, science, conspiracy theorists like Dr. 𝗲𝗄𝗧 and Nicholas Barros and Dr. Wolf, Dr. Rentschler and Dr. Russell, crazy conspiracy theorists like that. Yeah, right. Okay.
Doing. If you have not watched Ian testify, it's on YouTube. It's on Court TV YouTube. Can explain extremely technical details to, I think even my dad would understand what you meant, is astounding. So I personally thank you, and I love learning from you and watching you do this, but this is truly the masterclass. If you want to learn how to do courtroom testimony, or walk you through, I should say, key concepts and advice and methodologies you use for people to testify successfully in court. So I'm going to give you your points and then have you just chime in with what do these actually mean to you?
Sure.
The first one, know your evidence and know it deeply.
So really there, it's easy to just create a report and present the data, but you really need to understand what that data means. How did that data get on the device? Why is it there? What are the other possibilities that could explain it? Is it deleted? If it's deleted, how is it deleted? All these kind of components that really mean that you understand the data rather than just showing what the data is on the device. Like, did somebody do a search, or is it the result of an autocomplete? Were they at a location, or did they just search for the location? There's so much data you can get from a device that can mean different things. You really need to understand what you're testifying to.
I love that. And I've been feeling the pain of that one myself. All right, next up, identify the make or break evidence. So make or break in quotes.
Yes, I think this comes with experience. After a while, you start to recognize not just which artifacts exist, but which are the important ones, which are the ones that you really need to spend.
Oh, look at all this. Look at this.
Validating, verifying, testing, researching.
I mean, just look at this. Just the graphics. They're like, ooh, well, this guy must be important. He's got gloves on. He's going through a cell phone with gloves. And look at this one. bro. Like, look at this. Look at this.
Not just which artifacts exist, but which are the important
Well,
ones.
look at all those wires and shit. They got to know what they're talking. Like, this is legit. I've never seen so many wires. Look at them, and they're all plugged into shit. All of them. They're connected, dude. This is like real shit. This is serious shit. Look at all them wires. Like, why would they show this? Why would they show a fucking guy with gloves on?
Which are the ones that you really need to spend additional time
what is this?
Validating, verifying,
so
testing,
bootleg.
researching. If it's simply like an SMS message, for example, that exists on the device, it's pretty straightforward. We know why the SMS message was there. So it may be really good evidence, but it's also really easy to explain. And I think everybody in the world understands what an SMS message is. But if we're talking about something such as a location, for example, there are multiple reasons the location could be there. It could be really important information. So you really need to know why it's there. And that's why you kind of focus on it and do the additional validation and testing.
Fantastic. All right, now the third one, which I think personally is difficult, and this is where I could let my mind run for days on end. How do you prepare for the toughest questions?
I let my mind run for days on end. Legitimately, I go over all of my reports. I'll just mention as well, my reports are pretty detailed anyway. For example, for this second trial, I did about 150, 160 pages of reports. About half of that was the actual data, and about half of it was the testing, the research, the validation, everything that supported my opinion.
My favorite part of his data was the data that showed that John's cell phone could have been inside the house. Like, that was my favorite part of Ian Whiffin's data. But go ahead.
My position that I made in my report. So having all that information there is available for the prosecution to read. It's available for the defense to read. Everybody knows where I stand and why I stand there. And it's also useful for me while reviewing my evidence and looking back at it to understand and to remind myself, this is why I have that opinion. I've already tested this. I don't need to think about that too deeply again because it's already on paper. I also try to guess what are the questions that I'm going to be asked. Like, what is the real sticking point of this data? What's the question going to be, and how can I answer it? And there's no possible way that you can cover all bases. There was a few questions caught me out in this trial, but on the whole, I knew what to expect, and I had a good idea of what I'd be talking to.
Yeah, I think if you put yourself mentally in both sides of the courtroom, it helps you be a better witness overall.
For sure. Put yourself in the position of the prosecution, of the defense, of the jury. Like, do they understand, or are they likely to understand what I'm explaining here? How common is this kind of information to somebody who doesn't work in digital forensics?
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right. So based upon that, your fourth tip is to tailor your approach on each case.
Yeah, this is really about how to conduct the digital investigation. Like, depending on the kind of case, depends on how you approach the data. The example I typically give is if you've got a victim who's found at home, for example, location data may not be relevant because you know where they are, you know where they've probably been most of the time. But if you find a victim out in the middle of the road, in the field, or somewhere unexpected, then location data becomes a priority because you want to know where they were before this location. Similarly, communication data may not be relevant if you're looking at a vehicle collision, for example. But if you're in more of a domestic situation, then communication could be key. So it's really...
What about the data that shows that the cell phone battery didn't go below 40 degrees despite being outside for 5.5 hours during a fucking blizzard? What's up with that? What about that data, Sir Ian Whiffin? What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Do we need to get the meteorologist in here, that guy, to testify that it was snowing?
Tailoring how you conduct the investigation, how you write the report based on the kind of investigation it is, to make sure that you're focusing on the right elements.
Exactly. And I also think that we aren't sitting at a desk all day, every day being investigators and examiners anymore. We are brought in to do specific things and validation and make sense of data that sometimes then expands to everything. So focusing on what's being asked, I think helps, but then speaking up when something doesn't make sense and needs to lead you down another path.
Yes.
All right. Your final one. This is advice I could take in my everyday life. Block out the noise.
Yeah. So this particular case was kind of unique to me. Like, I've testified in many cases
There
before. Several of those have been relatively high profile, but this was another level. Personally, I found I had to turn off Twitter. I didn't open Twitter or X for probably about 8 months. I was very careful other social media platforms I was using to block out anything that was related to the case. I didn't want to know, basically. I don't want my kind of opinion to be shifted based on what I'm seeing online. All I want to know is the data that's put in front of me. That is the data that I have to testify to and understand. I don't need that outside influence. So essentially, ignore everything apart from the data.
It also didn't help when you had a team of people reminding you of something they saw. I just saw this tweet. It wasn't helpful to you. So we apologize, Ian.
What?
We had your back all along, but that's what you...
Wait a minute. So during the trial, he was communicating with people who were monitoring Twitter. What about the sequestration order? What about the... Like, what? Did I hear that right? That they were like texting him what people were saying on Twitter before he testified? That's crazy. That's crazy.
We're so firm in your mind on, yep, I'm just going to ignore it. Me, I probably would have like poured myself a glass of wine and walked right into that chaos and then cried into my wine glass. So
I bet you would.
Good for you. Seriously. It's a lesson for all of us. But now we're going to do, historically, this has been called mean tweets. And I remember seeing Peyton Manning reading something awful about himself where someone said he looked like a horse. It was terrible to watch these celebrities read all of this. Ian, you're a celebrity in our household. So I am going to read these mean tweets or mean X's, whatever we call it, and see what you think about this. And the names are blurred out. Okay.
Let's hear
if you want, I could tell you, sometimes I can see how many views there were. And there's a cuss word. So I'm going to say beep.
First of all, some of you motherfuckers better make this. If I don't see like a bunch of turtle, I can't wait to see some of the names on this list. This is my first time seeing this. I feel like I would have been told if one of my tweets made it, but God, how did one of my tweets not make it?
Okay. Ian Whiffin didn't explain
shit.
He misinterpreted data to fit the prosecution's case.
Yes.
He screwed up in the first trial and changed his testimony and the @Cellebrite report for the second trial.
Yes, all true. Notice she's like laughing. She's like laughing about it. Absurd. Absurd. He didn't explain shit. He misrepresented data to fit the prosecution's case. He literally testified to that. He screwed up in the first trial and changed his testimony in the Cellebrite report. Exactly. He did all that.
And the @Cellebrite report for the second trial.
Interesting. I don't believe my position changed at all regarding the Google search in trial 1 and trial 2. And
Did you manipulate your report?
Yes.
I presented the data from the device and then
you literally manipulated the software itself. You testified to that you updated Physical Analyzer based on your dissatisfaction with the results from the first time the defense expert extracted the data. And that data, the new data from the new software that was specifically made so that this Google search no longer appeared at 2:27 a.m. It's just like, bro, are you kidding me? And they're like laughing about, these people are, these stupid people who think it's weird. They're so stupid. They don't even understand Physical Analyzer. Haha, peasants.
Illustrated my position. Obviously, we changed the tool to reflect the new understanding, but it was unrelated to what the prosecution may have wanted.
Yeah, upgrading your tooling is different than being a tool and modifying a report. So thank you for not only 79 views, Ian. So the world didn't really even see that person. All right, you ready? I can't wait. I want to know what you guys think of the data. Tell Ian Whiffin to get lost and go do his job at Cellebrite.
Okay, so I want this. I mean, this is really what they're doing. I want to know what you guys think of the data. I don't even know what they're talking about. Tell Ian Whiffin to get lost and do his job at Cellebrite. Okay. Oh, look at her.
You didn't do your job.
Stupid people.
You fixed the tool. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's another one.
That's it?
Seriously,
That's
I'm
it?
curious to know how many taxpayer dollars we spent solely in an attempt to vindicate Jen McCabe.
Yes.
How much was paid to Ian Whiffin and Cellebrite to change their whole software to try to discredit the 227 Google search?
Why is she laughing at this? That is exactly what happened. The taxpayers spent significant amounts of money in order to exonerate Jennifer McCabe, and Cellebrite literally changed their software to try to discredit the search. All of that is accurate. All of it. And it's a great question the taxpayers should know about. But this woman at Cellebrite's like, stupid. So stupid. These dumb taxpayers.
Okay, I'm quite happy to answer this one. My flight and my hotel was paid for twice. Other than that, I received, and Cellebrite received nothing.
Oh, so you work for free. You work for free. Oh, I guess he's on salary. I don't know. And she also picks tweets that have like the least amount of views. You notice that? Like, how do they even find these tweets?
I love it. Okay. Doing it because you care about the data.
Doing it because it's the right thing to do, for sure.
Yeah, and not saying who was guilty or who was not. For the record, anyone watching, I used to always ask Ian, like, so what do you think? So what do you think? Like, I just wanted his opinion, and Ian's like, well, the data shows this.
Exactly. That's all I can speak to.
All right, now this one, 54 views, okay? 54 people around the world saw this. Ian Whiffin was not credible. Come on.
First of all, the fact that she's telling him that she's telling the audience that she was talking to Ian Whiffin and asking him what he thought about the case. Like, why is he discussing the case with anyone? Isn't he sequestered? I don't know.
You're not credible, Ian. All right.
Okay. I mean, everyone has an opinion.
His company got paid. Exactly.
Ian Whiffin didn't destroy anything except @Cellebrite's credibility.
Like that, and that's 1000% true about the company got paid, right? So it's like, oh, Ian Whiffin didn't get paid. The company did. We still paid. They didn't do it for free. If he's working on salary, we still had to pay for that. He didn't destroy anything except Cellebrite's credibility. It's so true. 59 views.
Okay. I mean,
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't have to respond to that. I present the data. I believe from Cellebrite's point of view, we did the right thing. I'll down.
Well, how about you address the fact that you apparently can just update software in order to give you the desired result that you want? How come your competitors like that? That'd be my question is why didn't @𝗃𝗃𝗄𝗃 do that? Is @𝗃𝗃𝗄𝗃 not reliable? Because @𝗃𝗃𝗄𝗃 still shows the 227 search. You testified to that, sir, Ian Whiffin. So why is talk some shit about @𝗃𝗃𝗄𝗃. Do that. I mean, they're not social media trolls. They say it happened. So what up with that?
Well, Cellebrite had your back 100% through and through on all of this. So I feel like our credibility skyrocketed because of your brain. So thank you. Seriously, we are trusted. You are trusted. I think our team of experts are more trusted now than ever before because of your testimony. All right. Now there's a new one. Okay. This is the best one. So there's a picture of Mark Zuckerberg in his gray t-shirt and you from your Artex website or your double black in your gray t-shirt. And it says, am I on crack? Or is Mark Zuckerberg and Ian Whiffin essentially the same damn person? Hashtag Karen Reed.
My bank account would disagree.
You do look alike in this picture a little bit.
It's a very old picture.
You have the same haircut too, Ian, but
no
you don't make as much money probably.
Guaranteed.
All right. So beyond all these mean tweets and all this ridiculousness and people just being social trolls, in the end, all over the battle of that 2:27 a.m. timestamp in the second trial, Karen Reed actually said she was not having her defense expert return because Ian Whiffin was right.
Are we going to hear from Richard Green in this trial?
No.
Why not?
I believe the evidence is all out and in part from Ian Whiffin.
How does it make you feel, Ian, that Karen said your name on the screen and said Ian Whiffin was right?
Yeah, she's trolling you. That's what she's doing. She's trolling you. She's being like, yeah, Ian Whiffin said that John went in the house. So they're not bringing Richard Green because the truth of the matter is they're not bringing Richard Green because they're not really going heavy on the conspiracy theory this time. They're going heavy on there was no collision this time. And yeah, she didn't say he was right. What did she say?
2:27 a.m. timestamp. In the second trial, Karen Reed actually said she was not having her defense expert return because Ian Whiffin was right.
Are we going to hear from Richard Green in this trial?
No.
Why not?
I believe the evidence is all out and in part from Ian Whiffin.
How does it make you feel, Ian, that Karen said
the evidence is all out in part from Ian Whiffin? That
her name on the screen and said Ian Whiffin was right.
That's not what she said. She said the evidence is all out in part from Ian Whiffin. Not even necessarily about the Google search, but he testified to a lot of shit. All the phone shit he testified to. I mean, this is just so retarded.
So, I mean, it was validation. I was already confident in my answer. I knew I was right with it. I was disappointed that the defense didn't put their expert on the stand to put his opinion across and to have that kind of debate and to evidence their position. But
why is he
Karen
disappointed?
saying I was right is a close second. I'll take it.
I love it. And I can't speak on behalf of Karen Reed, but how you did your report and the level of detail on what was on the device versus what was on your test device and how sure you were, that had to prove to her that she didn't need an expert of her own because you were an expert for everyone.
Oh, so I tried to provide a balanced opinion. But I wasn't necessarily there for prosecution. I was there for the data. And whoever it helped, I don't really care. I'm just presenting the data that's there.
I love that. Well, Ian, seriously, thank you for being Cellebrite's top expert in my mind. Seriously, and I'll say that because I saw social media or some public thing recently that Jared and I own Cellebrite. So Ian, you are our favorite expert as an owner of Cellebrite because you can't believe everything you read. But all your work that you put into this, all of the efforts, the education that you gave us along the way on your
All right. So any comments on that? All right. Retarded. There we go. Standard. If anyone else wants to spam their comment section with the word retarded or something to that effect, there's the link right there. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty bootleg. And that just proved that video production that they just put on there proves how stupid this whole thing was and how bootleg the whole operation was in general. So I'm glad that they did that. So, all right, cool. Will he be called for the civil trial? That's a very question. That's a real good question. You know, because Karen Reed's suing Jennifer McCabe, isn't she? So you would assume so. Hopefully these depositions are getting going. All right, let me read some turtle chats and we'll go to the Natalie thing. All right. Let's see. Andrea sends $20 and goes, "Hey Aidan, I just wanted to say that I loved hearing your rants, followed by anyway." Yeah, that's kind of my thing. It's my tagline. So thanks, Andrea. Nancy sends $5 and goes, "Last night, you mentioned doing a show tonight and said, my son usually sleeps here on Wednesdays because my daughter has cheer. So I don't know. I'll let you know. So maybe it was that and not an employee at Quinn's." Well, how could they know I was at Quinn's? They knew we were just going to go there. Like, it's just me and my son. We always, you know, that we were, I didn't go grocery shopping. Like, I can't cook them food at the house. I don't know. Next, Bika sends $10, goes, "Listen, Turtle, haters are going to hate. Thanks for explaining about Twisted Tragedies and the other one, Free Turtle Boy." Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to, because if you're new here, you don't know the Twisted Tragedies history. And she's just, I can't be happier that she is one of the spokespeople for, you know, the people that are trying to damage my reputation. Like, she's like, yes, we appoint Twisted Tragedies to speak for the group. Yes, thank you. I can't thank them enough for that. Thanks. Annie sends $25, goes, "Thank you for fighting for our rights. IMO." Thank you. You're very welcome, Annie. My pleasure. Your rights are important to me. We also have here Jenny sends $5 and goes, "They fucking suck. Been watching for years. F this." I don't know who they is, but thank you, Jenny. Chad sends $5 and goes, "Jessica Hyde invited Ian to case per email." That's true. Chad, that's the most insightful turtle chat you've ever sent, my dude. Usually you just say something random. But that's a good insight. That's very true too. It's a great point. Thank you. Okay, cool. If anyone else wants their messages read, click the link at the top for turtle chat, or you can cash at me at $Uncle Turtle Boy. We can do it that way. All right. So let's listen to some Natalie interview. I meant to listen to that. Oh, actually, before we do that, I want to listen to my dude here, David Yannetti. I'd love this motherfucker. All right. So he was on Canton Confidential. I don't know if we have like the full video of this, but I wanted to play this.
Who goes by Turtle Boy has been accused of witness intimidation and was allegedly aggressive towards some of the witnesses in this case. So, Attorney Yannetti, I wanted to start with you on this subject. Does the defense team bear any responsibility for his actions given your association with him?
No. And
no. Wait, what is that question? Does your defense team bear any responsibility?
So, Attorney Yannetti, I wanted to start with you on this subject.
Actually, can I get a better video of this? I want to see if I can get a better video of this. Give me a sec. Can't Confidential. This would have been, what, a couple days ago? Okay. What day did this video come out? The date on this video is... Does it say? This came out 2 days ago. Is there like a better version of this video? Maybe somebody can help me out with this. Huh. I don't know. Let's see what the chat's saying. It said October 8th this came out. Let's get Melanie into... I don't know. Is there a longer version of this? I don't know why it's like the shortened version. Sorry, I'm looking at there. I'm on NBC 10s because this has to be part of a larger panel, right? This whole thing. Maybe the chat can help me up because I'm in shorts. No, but I'm on a different tab. I'm on a different tab. Like, okay, check this out. Like, does anyone know if there's a longer version of this? I don't even know where I got the shorter version from, but I want to see the whole thing. What's this? No, state police. Tell me if you see it. Sue, there's Sue. Latest, is it in this one? No. Latest developments in the civil case. All right, that's not going to be on there. All right, anyway, I don't know. I guess we'll just watch the shorts version of it.
Defense team bear any responsibility for his actions given your association with him?
No. And, you know, I question the allegations against Mr. Kearney anyway.
Yes.
You know, if you look at, you know, old-time journalism, 60 Minutes, you know, people, reporters going up to people's houses, knocking on doors, trying to get a statement.
Yes.
You know, a lot of that stuff is remarkably similar to what Mr. Kearney did. And, you know, in terms of us bearing responsibility for what? You know, all we did was defend our client zealously as we're required to do under the rules of professional responsibility. You know, Mr. Kearney is fully able to take care of himself and make his own decisions. He's not a child. Yeah, I think the short answer is no, I don't agree with that at all.
God, I love that man. I fucking love this man. It's like, first of all, what a perfect answer. Like, that was music to my ears. Like, it's great to see that. You know, he didn't, because they think of the question they asked him. They asked him, like, do you bear any responsibility? And he could have just been like, absolutely not. We represent Kara Reed. Aidan Kearney is his own independent person. Any allegations of witness intimidation have nothing to do with us. And we don't know anything about that. That's what he could have said. Instead, he was like, well, not only do we have nothing to do with it, but also that motherfucker's innocent. Because what he did, going up to people, asking them questions, ever heard of 60 Minutes, motherfucker? Ever seen that shit? Like, this is common. This is not, he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to vouch for me. And because he doesn't, I've paid him nothing. He doesn't represent me. And he went out of his way to say really nice things about me. And God, do I appreciate that. He's in like the most dignified way. So like, that means a lot, you know, a member of the, you know, the Reed defense team vouching for me. Cause obviously I vouched for their client pretty tremendously. I vouched for her to the point where I ended up in handcuffs and I was indicted over it and put on bail and incarcerated. Right. So yeah, it was really refreshing to see that. So thank you, Mr. Yannetti. That was very thoughtful. Somebody says to check my email. Did somebody send it like the longer version? Let me see. Oh, there is a longer version. Okay. Oh, this was 3 months ago. He said that. This is that old. I had no idea that was that old. Oh, okay. Thank you for sending that. Okay. All right. I guess I'm late to the party. Okay, cool. All right, let's get to the goddamn Natalie Wiweke interview. Let's go listen to this. We're gonna have some fun now. We're gonna have some fun listening to Natalie because this interview is just too good. Start right from the top. I don't need to explain Natalie all over again. If you don't know who Natalie is, just go back and read about her. I think 99% of the people here are well familiar with who Natalie is.
So we went to Bentley College. It was college when we, and Natalie.
Recording starting on October 17th, 2023 at 12:41. We are here at Gardena, California at the
Gina Berschneider, Inc.
factory. Present is Brian Tully, Massachusetts State Police.
Nelson Deagle Special.
And Natalie Berschneider, Wiweke, alumni of Bentley University.
Great. And Natalie, you understand that you're talking to us here in this recording after receiving a proffer letter from Ken Mello.
Yes.
Indicating that if you were truthful and honest during this conversation, you would get an immunity letter to follow.
Yes.
I can't believe they gave her immunity. For what? Like, immunity is for people who have committed a crime. Like, 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺 was offered immunity because she was involved in a murder. And she, like, to avoid going to jail. And then she didn't accept it. And so she went to jail. Oh, what a poor choice that was. And so she is offered immunity. Not like, it's just, is this a joke? Like, immunity from what? Immunity from what? She's not accused of a crime. She's not being investigated of a crime. She just wants attention. It's Natalie. It's Natalie. She doesn't know. Anyway.
Great. So why don't we start from the beginning? And I know that we've already spoken, but for the purpose of the recording and for Nelson, kind of what's your relationship with Karen Reed? Where was it in the past?
So we went to Bentley College. It was college when we went from 1998, and I went from 1998 to 2002. And Karen graduated in 2001, a year early.
Oh, wicked smart.
Because she was very smart,
very
studious, and got all her credits early. But then she stayed at Bentley and got her master's, I guess, in finance. I was not friends with her per se. Like, we didn't really know each other on campus, but we knew of each other because we hung out with the same sorority sisters, even though we were both not in the same sorority, and we went to the same frat parties. And that was it. And then, like, of course, I would see her at the library. She studied a lot. She was at the library a lot. And then when everything came about in February of 2022, and
now you immediately within 1 minute understand why Karen Reed ghosted her, because she doesn't shut the fuck up. None of these details matter at all. Like, you knew I went to Bentley University with her. Done. Next.
Some friends from college were texting me like, "Oh my God, did you read this?" And when I read it, I was like, "Oh my God, poor thing. Like, this is an accident. Like, she was drunk and hit him." So I reached out to her on Facebook. I would say, I don't know the exact date, if it was March, April, or May of 2022, but I reached out to her, and I don't have that message saved. I don't have that message saved, but I wrote to her something along the lines of, "Don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Mistakes happen. Forgive yourself, And then she wrote back something along the lines like, "Oh my God, Nat, can we talk?" So we spoke on the phone. I gave her my number, and we spoke on the phone, and she said, "This was a setup. I didn't do this." And she told me that, that morning she was so confused. Like, could I have hit him? Like, did I maybe clip him? Was he running after my car? And did I hit him without knowing? But then eventually she told me that a fellow by the name of Scanlon came into Yannetti's office like a few days after she was arrested and was like, she didn't hit anybody. A fight broke out in that house.
Right.
And
all of this thus far is exculpatory to Karen Reed. All of it.
So from there, the pieces started coming together from her private investigators. And I think because I'm so far away in Los Angeles, I was kind of like her diary. So I would say like 30% of our relationship was about her case, and the other 70% was friendly stuff. Like, she would paint her guest room and say, "What do you like this wall color?" Or do you like this side table? Or I would cook dinner and send her pictures of what I just cooked. Or she would do the same. And then she'd say, "Oh, my parents are over for dinner," and she would take a picture of her parents and say, like, "Aren't my parents adorable?"
What?
How were you communicating at this point?
I'm pretty sure it was on Signal. I never communicated with her on regular text.
And why Signal?
I don't know. I didn't question that. But
that came from Karen.
Yes, I didn't even know.
That came from Karen. Why Signal? so you motherfuckers can't spy on us. That's the correct answer.
Signal was. And she would call it the Funky Fresh app. Or sometimes she would text me on regular text and say, hey, you want to jump on the Funky Fresh app? And then she would send me stuff like that. And then other innocent things, like I have these indoor fig trees. They're elephant ear trees, they're called. And I would do before and after photos where my tree would be dusty. I would take a before photo and then I would spray it and I would wipe down all the leaves and I would trim any of like the dead leaves. And then I would send her after photos. So a lot of our friendship was like that. And then
keep in mind, prior to my involvement in this case, prior to Turtle Boy jumping on board on April 18th, 2023, this woman was basically the entirety of Kara Reed's like media support network. This woman, like Karen Reed did not like align with Natalie because she's fun and cool and she liked hanging out with her. She aligned with Natalie because she would take any help she can get back then. And once Turtle Boy came on board, she didn't really need Natalie anymore. And so Natalie was, see you later.
She got upset with me once because in the beginning, I didn't know who was who. There were so many names and like, I really didn't know who was who, but I noticed that there was a woman who we all know now by the name of Elizabeth Proctor.
Oh,
and she would always do laughing emojis on all of the Boston news sites. And this is before Aidan. This is September 2022, October 2022, November. And I would send her screenshots and I would be like, what's this lady's problem? She's so adamant. Like, it just doesn't stop. And Karen was like, Natalie, I wish you and my friends would stop sending me negativity stuff. You know, I have enough negativity in my life. I wish you guys would just stop. And I was like, whoa, you know. So then the next day she was like, actually, you know, all those screenshots you sent me yesterday, something along the lines of, that's actually Officer Proctor's wife. Can you email Yannetti those? So I emailed them.
Actually, I kind of believe that. I kind of believe that story. No, from my experiences, Karen, I could totally see that happening. But go ahead.
To Yannetti as individual screenshots. And then she got back to me. She goes, Yannetti's not computer savvy. Can you actually do it in a PDF in order? So I did that. And so I put them on a PDF. So all he has to do is open up one thing and they're all there. And so that was like one time she snapped at me. And then I noticed a lady by the name of Jen Altman, and she was the only one standing up for Karen.
The only one.
I would laugh with Karen because for months we had her eye on her and we would laugh. And I would say, she's like the white female 𝗃𝗄𝗆 𝗃𝗄𝗆, like so outspoken cheerleader. And I was like, Karen, do you know her? She's like, I have no idea who she is. And I was like, well, she's the only one.
How is Jen Altman like the white female 𝗃𝗃𝗆 𝗃𝗃? How? In what way? How does that make any sense? Because she's commenting on shit? 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Shakur's a fucking rapper. How is she like a rapper? Because like I still don't understand how she's like the white female 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Shakur. I don't. Where does she get Funky Fresh? The Funky Fresh app. So it's interesting though. It's like talking about like Karen Reed was desperate for somebody to take up her cause. She was so desperate. It was just her and the Nat Pack. You know, it was just her and Natalie against the world. And Natalie's doing all the bitch work, sending pictures over, but it's got to be in PDF mode. So Natalie is just right back to work. Get back to work, Natalie. Make sure the PDFs are ready. And, you know, and then they see a woman by the name of Jennifer Altman running her mouth in the comment section defending Karen Reed. And they're like, oh, they're keeping an eye on her. We found someone. There's someone out there who gives a shit about this. But Jennifer Altman knows a guy. All right. Jennifer Altman knows a guy by the name of Daddy. Okay. Fridge Daddy, particularly. And she's there. That's going to be the connection there.
One standing up for you. So like we were watching her and we would laugh and we would, you know, make jokes like that. She's a little bit too brazen or whatever. And we decided, like, I said to Karen, I said, do you mind if I reach out to Altman and thank her? Because it's kind of nice of her. She doesn't even know you. And she's the only one not calling you a cop killer. And she was like, by all means. So I wrote to Altman and I'm just getting my text. Mm-hmm. I said, and I got this approval from Karen, and Karen told me what to send. So I said, first, I want to thank you for standing up for Karen. She's a friend of mine since college, and this whole thing is a nightmare. And then I sent her a picture of Proctor with those 3 kids because Karen said, send that. And I wrote,
Karen said, send that. You know, Karen's not doing it herself because she doesn't want to be tied to it. Is like, send that. You know, it is how Karen, I mean, I just, from dealing with her personally, again, this is how she rolls. She just doesn't do it herself. She gets other people, doesn't want her name on it. And I get it. But it's just Natalie was doing the bitch work. You got, I mean, say what you want to. That's why I would have handled the Natalie breakup differently, more diplomatically. Cause I'm like, I'm like, Natalie's fucking crazy. Don't get me wrong. She's annoying as fuck, but she's also done a lot of bitch work. Let's be honest. Like Natalie did have reason to be like, what the fuck? You're just throwing me out. You know, like, I think it was important in hindsight, especially knowing how crazy she is. Like that, like, you know, she turned on you. Like, she's a piece of shit for doing that. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'd be fucking keeping Natalie happy. I always said that. I'm not blaming Karen. I'm just saying in hindsight's 2020, you know, I would have just kept her happy. That's just me. And that because I was around when Natalie got ditched. And you saw my messages with Natalie. I handled Natalie very differently than Karen did. I was in the messages with Natalie. I've published them, and I'm all like, you know, hey, oh, she's just having a rough day. You know, she's going through some trauma. You know, give her some space. You know, she's being framed for murder. You know, this and that. I was the calm one and being like, it's going to be okay, Natalie. You're a really important part of the team. You know, you're a really important part of the team. And, you know, we got you on this one, Natalie. You know, we don't worry. And, you know, but Natalie wasn't having that. Remember, she wanted me to like get involved and be like, can you get in there and tell Karen to be nice to me and let me call her back? She wanted Karen to apologize to her. I'm like, oh dear. Based on my conversations with her, we are worlds apart. If you think you're getting an apology from Karen Reed right now, you are not even close, not even in the ballpark.
So this is lead detective Michael Proctor and Jennifer McCabe's children. Elizabeth Proctor is his wife. My guess is that a fight broke out in the house and it went too far. They beat the shit out of him and it went too far. In the autopsy photos, it's obvious he was beat up so badly, and also the homeowner's German Shepherd chewed up his arms. Thank you for standing up for us. Then Altman writes back to me, something was very fishy, and I thought that from the beginning. I'm also glad they got this evidence, and I'm praying it works out for her. What can I do to help? And then I wrote on April 13th, this is all April 13th, I wrote, you've been incredible. I see your comments on all the news articles. You're standing up to family members of these cops who beat him up and tossed his body in the snow to freeze to death. I wish I could tell you the details, but it will slowly come out. I told Karen about you and how we need to make t-shirts that say Altman the badass. And then I wrote, the feds are involved. So soon the officers and nephew of the homeowner who beat him up, the officer who stood guard as they tossed his body in the snowbank in front of the house, and the sister-in-law of the homeowner who Googled how long it takes to die in the cold will be brought down.
Okay, so it's interesting too. It is fucking weird how they said that Higgins just stood guard while the body went out. And this is how this story was initially fed to me. Not fed to me, but like this is the original narrative, was that like Higgins was not really that involved. Like it changed very much so. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the text messages. I think she wanted to minimize Higgins' involvement as much as possible because it was personally embarrassing. And again, I received messages. Let me see if and I feel bad about this to this day. I told some guy to like fuck off. I got some messages here. See if I could find them. Let's see. Like early on in the process. Let me look for this real quick. I don't know if I got the tip on Twitter or Facebook. I got it somewhere. I know I have it somewhere. But somebody sent me a tip about the Higgins, messages, just the tip. Yeah. And they're like, dude, do you know that she was flirting with Higgins and shit like that? And I'm like, and I wrote back to them. I'm like, shut the fuck. Like, dude, get the fuck out. Like, I was really rude to this person. Like, I dismissed them. I told them they were starting shit. Don't start rumors. That's not cool. And that's why I'm like, when I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm like, kind of like, why wasn't I told that? You know what I mean? And it's like, because now I'm telling this poor guy to fuck off. And it turns out he was right, you know? And they didn't lie about Colin being there. Colin was there. Colin was fucking there. Colin was absolutely in the house. We know this because of how hard they tried to keep Colin out of the house. And also they have no explanation for the Colin Albert call to Erin Beatty at 12:33. And then they tried to shut her up multiple times and get her parent, her dad, Tom Beatty, to change his testimony. All that shit, you know, all that shit. I'm just saying.
Even the homeowner's German Shepherd who chewed John's arms during the fight will be brought down. They gave the German Shepherd away.
Right?
Their house is for sale in escrow or sold by now. It will all come out. This is just the beginning. And then I wrote, Karen hasn't had a moment to mourn John's death. His children, who she loved immensely, she is not allowed to contact them. This is an awful situation, but I'm thankful you've been supportive. And I did a heart and the prayer, like, thank you.
And did Jen connect you with anybody after this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want me to keep reading or?
No, tell me what happened next.
Okay, so then next, yeah, so then next. Anyway, so Jennifer wrote to me. I actually have a screenshot of it, so that's actually good. But she wrote to me something along the lines of, hi, Natalie. I have Aidan Kearney, senior writer for Turtle Boy News. He would love to write a story on the Karen Reed case, something along that. But I have screenshots, so you'll have that all on the USB.
Yep.
And then I wrote, hi, Altman. Thank you for putting us in touch. Let me ask Karen for her blessings. And then Clarence, who's Aidan, wrote, Jesus, I am so sorry. I would love to get the word out about this. I understand there has been some coverage, but this should be the biggest story in the news, and Karen should be immediately exonerated.
Yes, that's me.
So then I didn't want to reply because it's not my territory. So I called Karen and I read her this. And she said, let me talk to my brother and my best friend. And I'm assuming her best friend is John 𝗺𝗲𝗺, who she went to either middle school with or elementary school with or high school with or junior high, but she's known him before college. But she said, let me ask my brother. And then she called me back and she said that they said that Aidan would be a good person to tell her side of the story because.
So that's interesting. So for all the people that said that Karen Reed recruited me to do this, this is the big lie that they said that like Karen Reed hired Turtle Boy to do this. You heard it from Natalie herself right there. Karen Reed didn't even know who the fuck I was when we first started doing this. John 𝗺𝗲𝗺 had heard of me. My following wasn't as big as it was. Like I had a decent following. I had like 25,000 subs and 25,000 Twitter followers around this time. I'd been on Timcast. I wasn't a big deal, but I was getting there. Okay. I was moving up in the world. And so Karen Reed didn't even know who I was. And so she contacted her brother and John 𝗺𝗲𝗺, who's a good friend of hers. And John 𝗺𝗲𝗺 is like, oh yeah, that's a big, like when Turtle Boy gets on your side, that's a really fucking good thing. And you know who knew the power of that more than anyone? The McAlberts. That's why when I made my post on April 17th saying that I'm going to be writing about this story and holy shit, it appears to be a cover up. Who did I hear from that night? Chris Albert messaged me and Jill Daniels messaged me. And a woman by the name of Meg Kennedy, who's friends with Jennifer McCabe, all messaged me. And they all messaged me and were like, you should not, there's more to the story. Like, don't write this. They understood the power of Turtle Boy. The McAlberts did. Karen Reed had never heard of it. She had never heard of Turtle Boy before. Remember, don't forget this. 2021, John O'Keefe. I'll show you. TV Daily News, Canton Middle School. Let's see. Don't forget this article right here from 2021. Get out of there. All right. Canton Middle School student withdraws from school after being labeled as a racist and bullied on school bus for criticizing BLM in class discussions, and the school offers no support. And some girl was like being picked up.
But at the same time, they can just take off their badge. They're not police officers. Exactly. Oh, no. That's where you're done. That's where you're done. No. That's where you're done. And you turn this into a lot.
So anyway, some middle school girl at Canton Middle School was being harassed for like something BLM related. What did she do? She I forgot the whole story. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because this story was then shared by John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe himself. We know this from John O'Keefe's cell phone extraction. Karen Reed got it. John O'Keefe sent Julie Albert a link to that article I just published. And Julie Albert replies back. And we've seen this. I've published this message before. I'll show you again if you haven't seen it. This is a wild message. There it is. Look at this. This is a message that Julie Albert sent to John O'Keefe on May 18th, 2021. And again, if you don't believe this checks out, look at the date of this article. Okay. What date was this article published? May 18th, 2021. So John O'Keefe clearly was a regular reader of Turtle Boy Daily News because he sent that article to Julie Albert, who says, "Oh my God, I read that article." So Julie Albert is also a regular reader of Turtle Boy because the McAlberts understood the importance and the power of Turtle Boy. And she goes, "That is my worst fear, ending up on Turtle Boy. No joke. I think I have an idea who the girl is. I'm going to ask Dylan Albert because Dylan Albert went to the school. I'll let you know. She calls her son Dill. And so this is, Turtle Boy was nothing before the Karen Reed case. Bitch, John O'Keefe fucking was a turtle rider. John motherfucking O'Keefe rode the turtle. Okay. And so did the McAlberts, unfortunately. I kicked them off, right? After they killed John. But they rode the turtle. All right. So suck on that, bitches. And Karen Reed didn't. That's the thing. They all did and she didn't. So this whole idea that I was recruited by Karen Reed is just completely untrue. And that message right there from Julie Albert to John O'Keefe proves it. Boom. Roasted. Next.
The mainstream media has painted her as a cop killer, and they're not giving Brian Albert's name, the homeowner's name, and all the other facts that she wants out. So then she said, send this picture. And it was this picture of Port that was on the Boston Globe. Mm-hmm. And she circled Jen McCabe's face. And I wrote, Jen McCabe is top left brunette in jeans jacket. And then I wrote, I'll call you on my way home. And then Aidan writes, what is this from? And then I replied, Boston Globe. And he wrote, thank you. And then I wrote, the very first hearing. When I get home, I'll find photos on their Facebooks. Just wait, guys. Major news coming very soon. And Aidan wrote, I'd be very happy to break this. I run Turtle Boy Daily News.
Yes.
And then Karen sends me stuff from a site called 𝗃sco.com.
Visco.
And one is a big family photo of all of the, this looks like the McCabe's, and this looks like the Alberts together. And then Karen tells me to write, because I didn't know who all these people were. And she wrote Jen McCabe, second from right, Brian Albert, back row, dark hoodie. And then Clarence wrote, obviously. And
it's just, by the way, it's like she said 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 twice on the stand, Julie Albert. That's how much she reads Turtle Boy. It must have just broke her fucking heart that Turtle Boy took the position that her family are a bunch of cold-blooded murderers. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Obviously, Clarence is Aidan, but it keeps saying Clarence on my phone. Obviously, Jennifer McCabe did not kill him on her own. And it sounds like O'Keefe and Albert barely knew each other. And then I wrote, they didn't know each other. McCabe and O'Keefe were, give me your cell number. And then he gives me the Facebook Messenger, because this is when I first met them. This was all April 17th, the day before I guess he did his first blog, which I understand is the 18th or 19th.
And it's a three-way conversation with you, Karen, and Kearney?
Karen is not on it. Karen is on Signal, or Karen's calling me. And I would read Karen, like on speakerphone, I would read what they're saying, and then she would say,
I am Clarence.
Yes, because what do I know? All I know is about sofas. You know, like I don't. And there were so many names involved that I didn't know who.
What do I
kept
know?
thinking Michael Proctor was the homeowner, and she would always correct me and say, like, no, he's the worst one of them all. You know, and
the worst
so
one of
it was
them
very
all.
confusing for me. And I think I didn't grasp who everybody was until probably April or May or March of 2023. So it took me a long time to get who all these people were.
And these photos he's sharing with.
So this just proves that Natalie didn't know fuck all about the case. Natalie was literally a copy and paste messenger. Like, go make the PDF, bitch. Go make the PDF. Natalie never actually learned about the case. She literally just every time I was communicating with Natalie, I thought I was talking to an expert on the Karen Reed case. But in fact, I was talking to Karen Reed. And she just, you know, Karen doesn't like to talk directly. She likes to go through people. And so that's why she went through Natalie.
From Karen.
She was in real time. She was sending it to you?
Yes. Yes. So, and I never went out. I never stepped out of bounds and took it upon myself to send stuff because I didn't want to jeopardize anything for her. So everything came from her, like, okay, send this, send that. This motion is now public. He can now use this motion on his blog, but pay attention to, you know, this page, this paragraph, stuff like that.
And this arrangement of her telling you to send stuff to Turtle Boy, how long did that happen? Or did that continue after April 17th?
Yeah. So then that continued from about April 17th. And then about the end of May, they started getting in an argument between me, and I'm copying, pasting. And Turtle calls me and texts me and says, you know, you girls are a bunch of cunts. You guys are jerking me around. I don't like being jerked around like this. And Karen said, fuck it. I'm gonna have Aidan call me on Signal.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. I didn't mean to say that word. And she said, have
Or
me
the C
call
word.
me on Signal. So I gave it to Turtle, her phone number. I said, call her on Signal.
Turtle.
I said, I'm gonna go give my little girl a
She
bath.
just called me Turtle.
I go in the bathtub with my little girl. We get out, I would say about 45 minutes later, we put our PJs on.
A long bath.
And
That's
I
a
come back
long
to my phone and I have all
fucking
these
bath.
missed calls and missed text messages. And I called Aidan and I said, what happened? He goes, you know, you girls, you're playing games with me. You're jerking me around. You know, I'm the one that brought this story out. And, you know, I'm waiting by the phone and Karen doesn't even call me. So I call Karen. I said, Karen, why didn't you call him? And she goes, Natalie, I'm so scared. I said, why are you scared? And she goes, I don't know. I'm just so scared. I said, Karen, he proved himself by now. He's done blogs. Like, he's been so loyal the past month. Like, you owe it to him now to just talk to him.
Loyal.
So from that, so then she was like, fine. So she summons the courage to call him. And so she called him. And ever since then, they just pushed me out of the picture. And
it does. It makes her look more
and we're
innocent.
communicating directly.
100%.
And how do you know that?
Because they stopped including me and stuff.
I know they're communicating.
She called me Mr. Turtle.
That's just me putting 1 + 1 = 2. And also, she stopped texting me every day like she used to. He was a little bit better about keeping me in the loop.
Oh yeah,
like
Turtle was
when
good.
he recorded like the Scanlon tape, he sent me that private YouTube link.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about it.
I'm trying to tell you everything in order because I tend to jump around and then I forget other stuff.
The Scanlon tape is the funniest shit because they tried to indict me over that and forgot. Like, I still can't believe that to this day. Like, Krusty had a funny tweet today. She didn't intentionally meant to be funny, but I laughed when I saw this out loud. Like, because it's true. She very rarely tells the truth, but like, I still can't believe this fucking happened. Like, in real life, Scanlon testified at the grand jury and Mello forgot to ask the grand jury to vote on it. Like, this is real life. That's actually happened in my case. The first witness against me who spent an entire day testifying in front of the grand jury about wiretapping was Steve Scanlon. And they're like, oh, wiretapping is a serious charge. It comes with 5 years in prison. It's a felony. It's a serious crime. This is what wiretapping is. We believe this is wiretapping. They did an entire grand jury day was spent on this. And then on December 20th, when they went to wrap it all up 3 weeks later, he just forgot. He forgot to be like, oh yeah, can you indict him on that? He just fucking forgot. Like, that is one of the underrated, funniest things that's ever happened in this whole fucking nightmare, right? Is that Ken Mello just did an entire day of a grand jury presentation to try to have me indicted for wiretapping and then just forgot to ask the grand jury to indict me on it. Like, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. So anyway, that's what Natalie was referring to there. All right, next.
Wanted to tell you. So I told Aidan, in the, I only had a relationship with Aidan, April 17th until about June 15th.
Of course, she
around there.
remembers
And then
the
off and
exact
on,
day.
like then I was in Europe and I would text him congratulations because he mentioned something about Netflix, But anyway, on June 15th, I think. Okay.
I don't know.
In
an oopsie, if you
April at some
will.
point,
Yeah,
April or
an
June at some point,
oopsie.
I told Aidan, I said, Aidan, one day not Hollywood's going to knock on your door. I said, but in the meantime, you got to cut out the words retard, faggot, and cunts because and you got to chill with this love for Trump because if you want to tangle with Hollywood,
what
and
am I
your
talking
dream is
about
to be
Trump?
famous and have a documentary. And I said, maybe it would be a good idea to do a show and say like, hey guys, I was wrong with my vocabulary. Let me change my ways and turn a new leaf. And he didn't listen to me. So then I was driving home from work. It was like around 5 o'clock.
First of all, that he didn't listen to me. So Natalie wanted me to do a whole show where I get up here and I'm like, guys, I'm no longer going to use the word retard, faggot, or cunt. I'm not going to use any of those words. Okay. I apologize for that. And she told me to do it. She told me to do it. She said, listen, Turtle. She just calls me Turtle. Listen, Turtle.
My time, 5:30, whatever. And Aidan calls me. He goes, Natalie, you were right. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, Hollywood called me. And he goes, I'm going to sign with them. And I said, but this is the first offer. Why would you wait for some more offers? I said, this is just the beginning. You're going to get so many offers. And he goes, well, as a thank you, I want to sign with the first person because I think that's really nice. I said, Aidan, that's like sleeping with someone on the first date. You don't do that. Just slow your roll. And
maybe not.
So I called Karen and Karen was like, oh gosh, Nat, did you hear about Aidan in the documentary? This really makes me nervous. I haven't even gone to trial yet. I haven't even been exonerated. Why is he thinking about a documentary? And I said, I know. I told him that I think he needs to slow his roll and just wait till things play out. With 𝗵𝗵, there isn't just one 𝗵𝗵 documentary. There's like 8 of them. And there's from different.
What does any of this have to do with conspiracy to commit witness intimidation? Why does Tully not cut her off and be like, yeah, we don't really need all this? I mean, Tully, this is karma for Tully having to sit through this. Welcome to my world, Tully. And at what point how does he not cut her off and be like, I don't need to know all this. I don't need to know
viewpoints from the 𝗵𝗵 family, from his sister-in-law, from just the general media. So Karen sounded really nervous and she was like, you know what, Natalie, I had a really bad day. I need to unplug. Let's talk about this tomorrow. But in the back of my mind, I could tell she was really worried. So I called Aidan. I said, Aidan, do me a favor. Send me a screenshot of the email. I just want to make sure it's not some D-list or C-list producer or documentary person. So he sent me the screenshot of the email. And what I did is I cropped it just down to the signature. And I sent it to my client who's won 6 to 8 Emmys because she's a director. She's a pilot.
I thought it was 5.
And I texted it to her and I said, hey, do you know these people? And an hour later, she texts me back and she's like, oh my God, how the universe works. 2 of my favorite people, Natalie and Brian, 2 of my favorite people naturally collide. Oh, I won 2 Emmys with him on these shows, blah, 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 blah. They're the best people. They're the nicest people. They're great to work with. So I called Aidan. I said, Aidan, you're in luck. These people are actually legit and they're actually really nice, good people. So then I text Karen. But when you text, after every sentence, you hit return. And so I texted Karen hey, all is good. All is good. These people are legit. I sent it to my client. You guys have nothing
6
to
to
worry
8 Emmys.
So then the next morning I wake up to a scathing text from Karen saying
5.
that I inserted myself into the documentary and something along the lines of that my only interest was to be in a documentary, which is not true. I had no interest.
No.
And I really did this for Aidan because I kind of felt bad for him because I felt like he was a struggling blogger. He has 2 kids.
Struggling blogger.
He lives, for lack of a better saying, paycheck to paycheck. And I thought, anyway,
I'm Natalie's welfare project. That's how she viewed me, as this struggling, starving blogger. I'll help him out. This is good. He's living paycheck to paycheck.
So that's why I vetted that. And Karen took it the wrong way. And then after that, Karen never called me.
Natalie.
Didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to hear my side of the story. So I said to Aidan, I told Aidan, I said, Karen just lost her shit. I get she's under a lot of pressure, but come on, over that. So in the meantime, my client gives the producer my name and he texts me. And he said, I would love to meet with you. Can you come to Sony Studios and meet me? And I said, no, but you can come to my factory. So he came and met with me and he told me.
So true story. So there's some guy named Brian, Brien. He contacted me. He was the first of several documentary producers who contacted me and wanted to do a doc. And, I had a meeting with him. And then one day, I was telling Natalie about it. And you know what she did? She just went there. She just fucking showed up and was like, I'm Natalie. And I know I have a friend that won 5 Emmys or 6 to 8 Emmys. and I am here to. I know everything about. She literally just inserted herself into it, and kept telling Karen about it. And Karen, meanwhile, was like, "Yeah, what in that?" So I know the doc. Imagine like, good Lord, like that's what I'm saying. She's acting like I'm like on food stamps or some shit. He's living paycheck to paycheck. He's barely getting by until Natalie comes in. I sell sofas. I sell a lot of sofas here. I'm a kingpin.
That this wasn't a documentary about Aidan. It was a documentary that they want to do about this popularity about armchair detectives. And he gave me the example about that young couple that traveled cross country in a trailer and taped it, and it ended up that the boyfriend strangled her. I heard it.
Ryan Laundrie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's right. And he said that it wasn't the FBI or the feds or the authorities that solved the case. It was the armchair detectives. So this guy, Brian, wanted to do a documentary on all the armchair detectives. But Aidan, being such an egomaniac, made it like, no, they want to do a documentary on me.
Yeah, I'm the armchair detective.
So then when the fellow was here, he asked if I would be interested in being part of the documentary, since I'm like the goose that laid the golden egg. And I said, absolutely. I want no part of a documentary. I don't want to be involved.
There's the goose that laid the golden egg. Yeah.
With like any kind of case, like no way.
None of this
I said, but I do have a question. I said, how do we go about getting Aidan an agent, an entertainment agent, and an entertainment lawyer? And he giggled and he goes, Aidan told me he has an attorney. And I said, yeah, but that's probably just some like Massachusetts attorney that doesn't know entertainment, because you need an entertainment attorney here in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I said, what about an agent? And he goes, Natalie, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know any agent that would take him on. And then he explained to me that the way these documentaries work is they get the rights to his blogs for 18 months, which means that he cannot then sign and do another documentary. He can't do 3 documentaries within 18 months. He would not get paid. But what it is it'll boost his popularity, and there'll be about 8 million viewers. And it wasn't Netflix. What they do is they go to HBO, they go to Hulu, they go to Amazon Prime, Netflix, anything else that's whatever. And they go with the pilot of the documentary or with an intro, whatever it is, or a trailer of it. And then the highest bidder is the one who takes it. Okay.
Why? Like,
so then I left it at that. And I did
again, why is Tully letting her talk about this? Like, Tully, how does he not interject and be like, bro, we're here for conspiracy to commit witness intimidation, and I don't give a fuck about all this. Like, why are you telling me about this?
Hurt Aidan's feelings and tell him that you're not going to get an agent, because no one. And I never Googled him too, which is another big mistake. I never thought to Google him, and if I did Google him, I would have never gotten involved because of just the filthy stuff about him on there.
Filthy stuff.
Yes. And
what
and
filthy
so,
stuff? What filthy stuff?
So then after this, I was like, you know what? I started getting sick because I was upset that Karen still never reached out to me when I thought I was a good friend and I thought we were friends. And she knows that I live a very comfortable life. So what would a documentary mean to me? Like
I live a very comfortable life.
I live a very comfortable life. And for her to just so coldly throw me away, I was a little hurt. So I asked Aidan, like, have you talked to Karen? Like, did you mention me? And he's like, no. And I said, well, why? And he's like, well, I don't want to get involved. Like, that's between you and her. And I was like, but
Tully wants all the tea. I know.
Can't you like try to talk to her and smooth things over and let her know that I inquired about the documentary just to make sure that you guys weren't going to bed with the wrong people? And he's like, no, I don't want to get involved. You girls are all cunts, and you're all unreasonable and you can't talk to women and da 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 da. So I left it at that.
That's not what the screenshots show.
And then
you guys have seen the screenshots. I never say you guys are all cunts.
Is this
end of June, beginning of July. And then I decided for my mental health, it would be best for me to leave the groups. So I left the Free Karen Reed group.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Justice
Thank you. Okay.
Group.
Yes, she
I left
left.
that group, and then I went to Europe.
Tell us
I
about
went to
Europe.
Germany to visit my family with my eldest daughter. And
tell us about your trip.
we had jet lag major, and my 12-year-old and I would be up until like 3, 4 in the morning.
Okay.
And I got bored, and I joined the group.
Oh, you
And
joined the
I noticed
Facebook
this fellow by the name of Nick Rocco.
because of jet lag. She joined
Back to June.
back to June.
I noticed.
Back to
So
June.
Erica Davis, who's Karen Ahern, as we know.
Karen,
You know
as
who
we
that is,
know.
right? Maybe I'll tell you later.
Maybe I'll
She
tell you
posted
later.
in the group.
Tully's like, what is happening right now? So then there's Erica Davis. Well, her real name is Karen Ahern, but she goes by Erica Davis. We know all about her, right? Okay, we'll tell you about her later. Like, what?
Who is getting all the proceeds to the Karen Reed t-shirts? And I commented, well, the etiquette would be that all the money goes to Karen.
What?
So Aidan does an impromptu video.
Yes.
And the impromptu video was dedicated to Sean on the Golf. The beginning, the first half was to
It
Sean
was
on the Golf
not. It
because
was
Sean on
not.
the Golf removed, because he was a moderator in the group, he removed anybody talking about the grand jury. And he called Karen and he called Aidan and he said, you guys can't ask about the grand jury. And Turtle, you can't do your blogs asking about information about the grand jury. This is highly confidential information.
First of all, it's not Sean and the Golf's job in a Facebook group to prevent discussion about a grand jury. Like this is how the Sean of the Golf rift started. He was a moderator in the fucking Facebook group somehow. And he's like, no one's allowed to talk about the grand jury in this group. And Karen Reed messaged me and said, why is he doing that? Because Karen Reed is very controlling behind the scenes. Okay. And she messaged me and is like, why aren't they allowing this to go in the group? Why we follow this stuff. She said, we monitor everything online. We read all the comments. She does. They read all the comments online. And she's like, why aren't they allowing comments about the grand jury? Like, so for instance, if somebody comes forward and has information about the federal grand jury, because the defense is left in the dark, they don't know anything. So if someone comes forward and offers information about the grand jury, she wants to know about it. Of course she does. Why wouldn't she? But Sean McDonough is a fucking know-it-all about everything. And he's like, no, we're not allowed to talk about the grand jury in there. It's our job. We have to crush it. And so this caused the rift, because I went to Sean and I'm like, bro, Karen Reed is saying she wants to have if anyone has information about the grand jury, she wants to know about it. Right. So why are you going against Karen Reed? She's the one that wants this out there. Again, I used to be kind of the spokesperson, I guess, for Karen Reed. Like, I did all my investigating, but I also advocated for Karen Reed. Karen Reed was like very active behind the scenes. Right. And was very upset at McDonough for doing this. And so I went to him and McDonough was like, no, but I'm like, dude, she wants it. Like, aren't we trying to help her out? Isn't that the whole point of this? Right? Aren't we trying to help Karen Reed out? And she says this is beneficial to her defense to have this information discussed publicly so they can learn about it. Right? And yeah, okay. And so McDonough wasn't having it. And so that led to the divide in the Facebook groups. And I'm like, okay, we're out of here. There was like a revolution. There was a new Facebook group. So there's still two justice groups for John O'Keefe. There's the original one, Mass Corruption, and then there's the new one, the Turtle Boy official one. And me and Nick Rocco left and we formed the new one. Okay. That's how the rift began between Sean of the Golf and Nick Rocco and Sean of the Golf and Turtle Boy. And the Roccos and McDonough hated the fucking Roccos, hated them because, you know, the Roccos were much more valuable than McDonough was. The Roccos raised a lot of money. They were really good fundraisers and organizers within the group. And McDonough did nothing. McDonough just fucking ranted about, oh, trust me, the feds are coming any day now. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. I used to be a Fed and then nothing ever happened. He did nothing. Fucking not. Karen Reed hates McDonough. Like, fucking hates him. And, you know, so there's that. Anyway, so back to this.
So Aidan did an impromptu, and that first part was dedicated to Sean on the Golf, saying where he said something along the lines of like, hey, let me make something straight about the grand jury. Trust me. Like the whole trust me part.
Yeah, trust me.
You don't have a law degree. Trust me. It's okay to talk about the grand jury.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, trust me.
And then he goes, and now I want to talk about the t-shirts.
Yes, the t-shirts.
Talk about the grand jury part.
Yeah.
He goes, before we talk about t-shirts, can we talk about the grand jury part? Because she wants to rant about the t-shirts because some people were like, hey, what are you donating from t-shirt sales to Karen Reed? Because you're selling free Karen Reed merch. What are you giving for what percentage of that is going to Karen Reed? And Karen Reed told me, she goes, I don't want anything from you. You started this legal defense fund for me. You built this support movement that is raising tremendous amounts of money for me, getting the word out there about this, right? This movement is growing by the day. I don't need your fucking t-shirt money. Basically, you earn that shit. You keep that shit, right? That's you start like Karen Reed explicitly made it clear. I don't want any of your t-shirt money, right? What you've done already is in fucking valuable, right? And so, but these other people were like, and so I did a rant about the t-shirts, and and I'm on video, and I'm going, people are asking me how much I'm giving to Karen Reed for the t-shirt money. Absolutely fucking nothing, because Karen Reed says she doesn't want it. It's fucking what she said. Like these people, like, oh my God. But I couldn't say at the time that I talked to Karen Reed. So that's why I did the whole trust me thing. Trust me. Like, AKA read between the lines, motherfuckers. It's coming from Karen Reed herself.
What was being posted on these sites?
I don't know because I wasn't on. But I guess somebody said like, oh, my friend is on the grand jury and she said that we meet every Thursday. Something like that is what I heard from somebody.
But this is June of 2023? Or this someone on the grand jury that cited Karen?
I don't know, but they talked about grand jury, so I don't know like very specific like that. Okay. And so Sean and the golfer moved it. Turtle got really mad. Karen was mad, I guess. I don't know, but I heard she was mad. And
he wasn't mad.
So Aidan does this impromptu. And so the first half, as I mentioned, is dedicated to Sean and the golf. And then the second half is dedicated to Erica Humphrey Davis, Erica Davis Humphreys, who's actually Karen Ahern.
Karen Ahern.
And to me.
Who disappeared.
And he says, and now let's get something straight about the t-shirts. All 100% of the t-shirts go to me. This is my livelihood. This is how I get paid. And you fucking cunts is what he said. And I can send you the impromptu. I think I may have even sent it to you. So the first cunt was Karen. And then I'm the cunt who mentioned etiquette, that the etiquette would be. And
first of all, I never called Karen a cunt. Ever. Karen, we were working together. I was speaking for Karen. Karen wanted to make it clear that you can tell people, I don't want any fucking t-shirt money. I don't need t-shirt money. What you're doing by building this gigantic movement to fucking support me and have people at the courthouse and writing articles and spreading awareness and making this the biggest fucking story in the country is fucking valuable. I don't need your t-shirt money. That's why I did that rant. Because I'm like, bro, Karen Reed doesn't need my fucking t-shirt money. Stop it. I'm a capitalist. I'm running a fucking business here, right? I'm going to keep that shit. I'm not just some random person fucking jumping in late trying to capitalize off of this shit. I built the fucking movement. I'm going to keep the t-shirt money and fuck you if you don't like it.
And the snotty cunt who blocked me because I blocked him a long time ago. And then I blocked Jennifer Altman because I know she's been a turtle writer for like 5 years. And so after this impromptu, I got scared because I thought that they were going to pull photos of my kids.
You want to have a red carpet.
A YouTube thing about me and poke fun at my weight or whatever. I don't know. I didn't want to be one of his ratchets. But everybody was like, not everybody. I say everybody.
I didn't want to be one of his ratchets. She's been in Ratchet Madness twice. She was a 7 seed this year.
Like I was talking to a bunch of people. I was only talking to like 5 to 8 people, if you include Aidan and Karen. So in the back of my mind,
yes, for real.
With Aidan, for real. I thought, how dare he? He could have called me and said, Natalie, why you write that? Why do you write that?
I think you're right about that, Kim. I think we need to let bygones be bygones with this whole shit, right? I think I've been properly fucking drugged through, like, whatever grievances exist out there. I think I've been, properly dragged through the mud. Okay. If you wanted me bruised up, like taking a couple of hits, losing followers, mission accomplished. I think it's time to put the band back together. Like, I think it's time for old school sake. Listen to this shit. It's like, it's time to put the band back together because we ain't done yet. We got more shit to do.
About the t-shirts. And so then Sean in the golf told me he called me. He's like, did you see the impromptu about us? And I was like, no. And he's like, go on right now. And so I listen and then I hear the t-shirts part and I was like, wait a minute, what? So then I go in the group and I look and I see the little turtle in the R or the A of Reed. And I didn't even notice that it had something to do with turtle. So I would have thought that the etiquette thing to do would have been to just call me and been like, Natalie, why do you write that? But then instead he does this like outlandish post, he doesn't say my name. So in the back of my mind, I thought, I'm going to get this guy back one day. I just don't know how. But I'm not a vindictive person where I'm going to set up a fake account. And
she literally tells the police that she's going to get me back one day. Like, okay, that's great.
Near or egg their house or whatever, however people retaliate. So my way of getting him back was smart. So I was in Germany with my daughter and we had jet lag for basically the whole trip. And I noticed that Nick Rocco was doing a fundraiser for these he was raising money to hire the trucks going up and down in front of the courthouse. And I noticed, and then Nick said, oh, these are all the slides. And I noticed that Turtle's logo was on every single slide. And I've done fundraising for the interior design community. And I know that logo placement is very valuable. So I reached out to him and to Nick Rocco. And I said, hey, Nick, great job on the fundraising. But by the way, is Turtle paying for the logo placement? And I thought, I'm going to get him back this way. So I told him, I said, the business and savvy way to do it is, yes, offer Turtle to buy logo placement at $1,000 per logo. But in the meantime, in the group, hit up CPAs, bakeries, barbershops, auto mechanics, auto body places.
Again, how is Tully not intervening and being like, yeah, I don't care about any of that stuff.
So I was giving him like business advice and he was like, oh, that's a great idea. So he removed those 4 slides And he removed the logo, and then he posted, "Hey, anyone want to put their logos up? We're going to put them up for sale for $500." And I told Nick, like, why did you undersell it? Like, you got to be aggressive in business, you know?
What?
And you could have sold them. But anyway, within 2 or 4 hours, all logo placements were sold. And I figured I won the smart way. I got Turtle's logo off, and I did it without smearing him or talking about his whatever, however they smear him. You know, I'm not low like that. And then I formed not a bond, not a relationship, but I kind of coached Rocco on how to fundraise. And I told him, I said, you get sponsors to buy the bracelet.
Everything the Roccos learned about fundraising, they learned from Natalie. So Natalie's the real mastermind, man. She's the goose that laid the golden egg. Like,
and you give those sponsors credit, and then you sell the bracelets for $10 a pop. He wanted to just somebody buy the bracelets or nobody buy the bracelets. I don't know what his thought was. And I told him too. And then you get sponsors for postage also. Like, and you give those businesses credit, and then they use that as a marketing expense, you know, especially with the bus going up and down with the 4 slides, they can use that as a marketing expense. And he was like, oh, that's a great idea. We'll do it. So anyways, I was like, great, I got them back. And then where I messed up, and I admit this. This is where I messed up.
This is where she messed up. Okay.
Nick did not understand how Karen knew he got beat up in the house. He just did not get it. And I tried to explain it. And I was like, you know what, forget it. So I sent him the link to the Scanlan tape. And that was my fault. I backstabbed Aidan, but at this point, I wasn't really fond of him. And I feel bad for doing that. That was a wrong move. And I admit that was a wrong move.
So it was a wrong move. I had sent her the Scanlan tape. It was on an unlisted link. And then she sends it out to Nick Rocco and them. And I found out she did this. And that's when I cut her off. I'm like, bitch, you are untrustworthy. I am never talking to you again. I cut Natalie off because she would still talk to me once in a while. Even though she wasn't around. In like August, after I found out about the tape, I'm like, Natalie, I can't ever talk to you again. Like, you're untrustworthy. See you later. And then she turned not long after that. She suddenly thought Karen Rusco.
And I also told Nick in a text, in a thing, that another thing that made me uncomfortable about Aidan is that him being a married man with 2 kids and a daughter, and me being a married woman, and me being friends with Karen, and me being married with 2 daughters. I found it very odd that he would tell me that when this is all said and done, that Karen owes him a blowjob.
What? That is fucking fake news. Fake news. First of all, we talked in text every day. Show me the text message, Natalie, where I said, when this is all done, Karen owes me a fucking blowjob. Give me a fucking break. Fake news. That's perjury, Your Honor. Perjury. I never, ever fucking said that. She said that Karen owes me a blowjob. That is fucking fake. Fake, 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 fake. 100% fake. That pisses me off right there because that's like a fucking lie. I never, ever, ever said that. It's fucking fake. Anyway, go ahead.
And I wrote that to Nick. So like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had COVID, and I get an alert that Turtle Boy's live. And I look, and it's the Scanlan tape. And I was like, there's no way he's sharing this. He got hacked.
Yeah, she's not wrong about this. I accidentally put the Scanlan tape up. It's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. I fucking and again, this is all in the grand jury and shit. So it's like whatever. Like it was on private, and then one day I was just fucking around backstage, and I accidentally put it on public for 10 minutes. And I got a text message from someone. They're like, what's up with this tape? What's going on? And it had like 1,000 views. I'm like, fuck. And 𝗵𝗆 got it. You know, this is September 13th.
And I guess he pushed, from what I hear, from then Sean on the Golf and J. Robert were the only 2 people I was keeping in touch with at this point. I was only keeping in touch with 2 people at this point. That Turtle hit the wrong button on YouTube and published that by mistake for 13 minutes.
Oops.
And what did Rocco do? He right away sends screenshots to Aidan about not only me sending the Scanlan tape, but about my comment that he's a pig for saying that Karen owes him a blowjob.
I never said that.
Aidan says to me, you're the reason why I'll never trust anybody again. And I didn't even reply because I figured he's not a reasonable person. And I've tried to plead with him.
I'm not you betrayed me, Natalie.
About things. And he has no concept of friendship or loyalty or just being a good human being. So I didn't even reply. And then I did reply. I actually did say, like, hey, I know you're mad at me, but I'm still, I wanted to keep it civil because I didn't want to be a ratchet. So I was like, well, I'll still be cheering from you from afar. Something like that. I left it like very like neutral, like, let's not make this war because I'm not doing war.
So what's the concern about the Scanlan tape? Did Turtle Boy share any concerns about the existence of that video?
Well, because he recorded it without Scanlon knowing.
Untrue.
Because he was like,
Untrue.
oh, when he sent it to me to send to Karen, it was not known, and he never shared it on his blogs. And
so
then
finally, Natalie has made some sort of allegation. Now Tully's like, okay, tell us about that. Like, I don't want to hear shit about t-shirts anymore.
And another thing I thought was odd was with Lucky Laughlin, the plow guy, Aidan said several times that he has a photographic memory. But then I knew he recorded Scanlon, and you don't have a photographic memory like that. There's no photographic memory like that, especially verbatim like that. No, he should have prefaced it. If he were smart and savvy, he should have prefaced it like, oh, the conversation went somewhere along the lines of this. But he's like, no, I have a photographic memory. And that's just.
So these idiots, this has been another tall tale. They believe I wiretapped Lucky Laughlin. Okay. Because I transcribed my interview with him. Okay. This shows how stupid wiretapping laws are in general, but it's like, I didn't do that. But even if I did, if you recorded somebody for the purpose of transcribing it later on, that's a fucking, give me a break. It never happens, to be very clear. But these people believe that, like, he must have recorded the interview with Lucky because he doesn't have a photographic memory, does he? Okay.
Not believable. But no, the Scanlon tape was very obvious, and he sent it to me, and he either sent it directly to Karen or I sent it to her. And then he also sent it to 𝗃𝗏 Davis, who's Karen 𝗃𝗏.
Yes, we know.
She's also one of the numbers I gave you
Lucky
because
said
she
no.
all this time told me she's a Boston police officer and that she doesn't
Lucky
want
said
to.
no. There was I never did it.
I think she's a pathological liar because she's actually a security guard for a hospital.
𝗃𝗏 Davis.
But
She's obsessed with
would
𝗃𝗏
go
Davis.
to, like the Albert homes and the house with the swimming pool. And so she's the one that took pictures of the swimming pool. So if you go on his blogs, those are all from him. But then she had a falling out with Aidan because she was like, he's
No,
so
she didn't.
unthankful.
What?
I'm not going to send him anything anymore.
What?
Somehow her and Sean in the Gulf, who's Sean McDonough in Florida, the retired 35-year DEA agent, him and Karen 𝗃𝗏, aka 𝗃𝗏 Davis Humphreys, they started a circle. Where
Karen 𝗃𝗏, aka 𝗃𝗏 Davis Humphreys. She was like she's been a turtle writer for years. I've had a lot of discussions with her, and then she just dropped off the face of the earth. I haven't heard from her in like 2 years. I don't know whatever happened to her. Hope she's okay.
They wanted to figure out, what do these cops all owe each other? Like, what favor does Proctor owe Brian that he did all this lying and planted evidence? And there's all these other officers, like, so they were trying to find out who owes who what favors. And so McDonough, I also think, exaggerates and tries to make himself more significant and powerful than he is.
Ooh, McDonough.
That was what they were working on with these
she's
5
talking
other
shit.
police officers in Canton.
The 5
Retired
guys.
or
The 5
retired FBI agents.
The 5 guys. She's talking about the 5 guys. I had not realized she brought up the 5 guys in the interview. Those are McDonough's 5 guys. The 5, because she's like, he pretends like he's more important than he is. And he thought that they're like investigating it. All these boomer cops. They're the 5 guys.
I don't know what the terminology was, but there was a think tank amongst them to figure out what these cops have on each other. And that's why they all covered up for each other.
The 5
and planted
guys.
evidence and purposely misspelled names in documents and stuff like that.
When was the last time you talked to Karen?
That night when it must have been June 15th, June 13th.
When was the last time you talked to him?
Well, when he got mad at me when I had COVID, like September 18th, but I never spoke to him. But when I was in Germany, he posted that he's signing on with people with Netflix. So
what?
I was genuinely, out of everybody, I'm scared of him the most because I don't want him to like smear my name and make me a ratchet, even though I pay my bills. I don't have debt. I didn't have kids before 30. I'm married. Like there's nothing wrong. I don't do any, I have no criminal record.
I didn't have kids before 30. That makes you a ratchet. What is she talking about?
So there's nothing you can write about me. I'm not a drug addict. I don't do drugs. I don't abuse alcohol. I live a very clean, fine life. So I was scared of him. And so sometimes I would message him to, like, for lack of a better word, kiss his ass.
Oh,
I don't know. So when I was in Germany, I wrote to him something like Mazel Tov about Netflix. And I wrote something about, like, is it the Wahlberg brothers? And he said, I can't say. And either while I was in Germany or when I got back from Germany, we texted again or we spoke. And he told me that it's the brothers that did the Netflix show, The Tinder Swindler. And it's a show about
Tinder swindler,
a guy who would borrow like $50,000 from one woman to rent private jets and take a bunch of other people and try to live this like rich life, and then scam and then keep telling this woman, I'm going to pay you back your money, and then get $75,000 from her and then pay her like crazy. So then when I was thinking about it, like Aidan, in Aidan's mind, he thinks that this documentary is going to be like, it's investigative journalist, like gets down dirty, finds out the information. But really, Tinder Swindler, The Tiger King, these documentaries are about these mentally insane people. And so I don't think he grasps.
Like how does Tully not cut her off? Like, I don't care about any of this. I don't care about the documentary. I just don't care.
That this isn't going to be like a complimentary, like, hey, go Aidan, great job. This is going to be like a mockery of him. Like, he's out of his mind.
I know. Every time.
So that's that. And then, on that tweet the other day, the lady said I contacted Netflix. I never contacted them. Actually, Sony contacted me, but Aidan ended up not going with Sony. So a lot of that's a lie. And that lien that they said about that I have a $31,000 lien, that's not true. That's from 2011 when my husband inherited a $3 million property from his late mother who died of cancer. She died like 2 years for her to die from cancer. And
like, if you're Tully, you have to be like, how does any of this help us indict Karen Read for conspiracy? Because that's what we're here for, to try to indict Karen Read, to try to tie Karen Read to Turtle Boy. How can you help us?
So when my husband inherited that property in 2000, she died in 2009. In 2011, we get a letter from the mail and the IRS that him as the heir, we have to pay her back taxes, and it was $31,000, and we paid it off within 16 months. So to make it like I am like this like deadbeat who doesn't pay my bills, I don't have any credit card debt, and to say like I work here for nepotism. You met my mom. If I wasn't good, she'd throw me out here, and she wouldn't give me shareholders. And she also made it that in the will I get 100% of the business and my brother gets none of the business. And my brother was fine with that because he says I deserve it and I've done a good job. So
how is he letting her talk this much? I don't care about your family will. I don't care. We're just trying to indict Karen Read for conspiracy.
It's very, I realize what I'm dealing with, this nastiness.
Oh, so does Tully.
And I'm scared.
Oh, she's so scared.
Going back to when there was this arrangement that Karen would send you things and you would send them to Aidan.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
What was Karen's motivation? Did you get a sense
to
of
get her side of the story out, because she felt like the mainstream media was making it that she was.
No, what was Karen Read's motivation? He wants her to say they're trying to intimidate witnesses. That's what he's saying. And instead she says, what?
Going back to when there was this arrangement that Karen would send you things and you would send them to Aidan. What was Karen's motivation? Did you get a sense
to get her side of the story out, because she felt like the mainstream media was making it that she was a cop killer. And she was like,
so she's trying to get the narrative out that she's not a cop killer, which is exactly what innocent people do.
I'm not a cop killer. A fight broke out in that house, and now they're trying to protect Colin, who's the neighborhood bully, who would always start crap with John and would drive really fast in the neighborhood. And John would tell him, don't speed, there's kids playing on the street. And when they would leave town, I guess, I don't have Ring, but I guess with Ring, it senses when there's movement on your property and it alerts your phone. So they would be on vacation, and then they would see that this is what she told me, that 𝗃𝗃 and his son Colin would be on lawn chairs on their grass drinking beers, and then leave the beer cans on the lawn. So so that's what she told me. So
and as Aidan was confronting people in public, going to businesses, did you ever talk to her about kind of his conduct out of the rolling rally?
So I wasn't involved anymore at that point. So I pulled out June 15th. So the rolling rally and all that stuff happened after. Sure. But when he first started calling people on the shows, she did tell me that made her very uncomfortable. And she was like, gosh, I wish he wouldn't call the family members. But she was like, I can't tell him what to do. And also when he made mistakes in his journalism, she's like, we can't correct him. He's a journalist. He has to come up with his own hypotheses and stuff like that.
Okay. Did you ever talk to Alan Jackson or David Yannetti?
No, I've only emailed David Yannetti twice. I emailed him the Elizabeth Proctor thing, and then I emailed him the Paul O'Keefe conversation between Aidan and Paul O'Keefe.
And what was the purpose of the Paul O'Keefe conversation?
I don't know. She just asked if I could do it. But she swears that she was framed. And, it happened so organically and naturally. It's like, how could I not believe her? Especially when she would break down and cry. Like when all that rumor came up about the wood floor being dug up in the basement, she felt so grossed out. She said, Natalie, I have to get off the phone and take a hot shower. And then she called me back and she said, I just blasted my music, took a hot shower, and I just went in the corner and started crying. But she's never cried to me. And I always tell her, like, gosh, you're so strong. Because you know me, I'm a crybaby. And I tell her, like, gosh, you're so strong. And she's like, I have no other choice. I'm fighting for my life. But I have to say, like, I do miss our friendship. I genuinely liked her. Yes, I have not seen her in 20 years. But we had so much fun reminiscing about college. And we would watch this Netflix show together, Tell Me Lies, which is about freshman college year, like love drama. And it reminded us of Bentley College. And so we would watch an episode, and then we would like recap and talk about that episode and like be like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next episode to come on, stuff like that. So it wasn't just always about her case. And, there was a friendship there. And that's, I think, what hurt me That's what hurt me when she didn't give me a chance to explain my innocent inquiry about the documentary. Another thing.
So I stepped away for a minute, but I listened to the whole thing. So that was interesting stuff because she was like basically saying that, yeah, like remember, Tully's there to try to prove hired with me to commit witness intimidation, that she was the one pulling all the strings. And what does she say right there? The exact opposite. She's like, actually, Karen Reed knew she couldn't pull his strings, that Karen Reed, she couldn't get him to write the stories that she wanted to write, because Turtle Boy is this kind of like maverick cowboy journalist who fucking, you know, marches to a beat of his own drum and does whatever he wants. He's uncontrollable. He's fucking Turtle Boy. He does what he wants, which is the exact opposite thing that Tully wants her to say. And then she starts talking. I miss her. I miss our conversations. We watched this Netflix show. Let me tell you all about the Netflix show. Like, this is wild.
Is in the very beginning, I told her that when you Google, this is before Aidan, this is 2022. When you Google Karen Reed, nothing came up. And I told her, you need to tell the news outlets that when they post their articles, you can choose like 10 hashtags. It might be more, but you can choose 10 hashtags. Tell them to use Karen Reed as a hashtag so that when we Google your name, it comes up. Another thing I noticed is they kept referring to her as the ex-girlfriend. And I said, you need to let the news outlets know not to call you the ex-girlfriend because you weren't.
No worries.
And
no.
She was like, oh my God, Nat, why am I spending $3,000 a month on a PR person? You should just do my PR. You're so good at this stuff. You know this like on your own. I'm going to let go of my PR person. So from that point, I kind of looked at my role as her PR person, weirdly enough. And so I think that when Aidan told me about the documentary guy, I kind of wanted to protect her and protect him and make sure that this was legit.
Yeah, that's what she wanted to do, right? Not involve yourself.
Did Aidan, obviously after you gained his trust, did he ever have you email anybody that we haven't brought up yet?
No.
What kind of question is that?
Like email, like
just any documents, anything, or contact somebody on his behalf?
Oh, like, so he would get emails from like people saying like, oh, rumor has it that X, Y, and Z. And then he would say, can you send this to Karen and tell me if this is true? Okay. And then Karen would say, this is not true. Like that Brian Albert video with the foot. And Karen said, unequivocally, or however you say it in English, that's not Brian Albert. He always.
Oh, actually, that's untrue. So I got a video of Brian Albert at this bar in Roslindale, licking someone's foot, a woman's foot. And I've published it before. I sent it to Karen Reed. I'm like, yo, check this out. I'm told this is Brian Albert. And she's like, no, that's not Brian Albert. But then I independently verified it was actually Brian Albert. So I don't know why she's telling that anecdote, but because it's fucking Natalie, she just doesn't.
He wears a skull cap type of thing.
Anybody else that comes to mind?
Ashley Bell sent
Ashley Bell.
Aidan a text with pictures of Yuri on her Ring camera.
Okay.
And then Aidan sent me a screenshot where he sent that to Yannetti, and I sent that to you. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that. And
what is that? Who cares?
Aidan would send me stuff to kind of keep me in the loop, you know. But then by May, I was kind of pushed away, and I kind of sensed like, okay, they're now in touch. They don't need me anymore.
They don't need. That's right. That's right. Now,
Did Karen ever send you grand jury minutes or motions to send to Aidan?
That's the big thing.
Only if they were already public. She was very careful about that.
So she fought like he's like, damn it. Like that, we were hoping to get her in that. We were hoping that he sent grand jury minutes. She's like, no. She was actually very meticulous. She knows the rules.
She was very, very careful, and she would always say, "Let me double check with Yannetti to make sure they're public."
Yes,
but never beforehand. She was very careful about that. And the only time I think she fucked up, that she messed up, was releasing the color autopsy photos. And for some reason, I thought I sent those to Aidan. But when I looked through my text messages with him, I sat down on Friday in my car, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to finally revisit this. And I scrolled all the way up to the top. And I got a Jamba Juice. I sat in my car. And I read everything. And when I was done, I was like, thank you, Jesus. I did not send the autopsy photos. I thought that maybe I sent those. But that's because I had them saved. But I think John Silvera, because he's on some of the emails with me, I was only sent like 3 emails or 4 emails, and he was on like 1 or 2 of them. And I know that they're very close. And I know that he was her biggest donor because he donated $15K. So I know that. And then she also said to me sometimes like, Natalie, if this is too much for you, I can have John S. take over, you know, if you need a break. And I was like, no, this is what friends are for. Don't sweat it. It's not a big deal. I'm just copying and pasting. The kids were asleep, you know, like, and that was pretty much it. And that was pretty much my involvement. And then stupid me, I got involved with Sean on the golf. And
Erica Davis.
Also with Scanlon, the reason why you're going to get all these screenshots is Karen and I went on Scanlon's Facebook page before Aidan. Okay, so we went on Scanlon's Facebook page and we did screenshots of every single photo he had.
Okay.
And kept them.
Okay.
Because we knew that Karen was going to have 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 go on the chat of Aidan's YouTube channel and just write, who's Stephen Scanlon? And that's why when you see, if you've seen the Scanlon tape, how my name pops up, it's because Aidan texts me something like, who wrote Stephen Scanlon on my text? And then I said 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. And then it was because Karen told me, hey, can you text 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and tell her to just write, who is Stephen Scanlon?
I mean, that's why, again, I'm not crapping on her, but this is, if we're going to tell the whole story about it, Kara Reed is very controlling behind the scenes, like telling 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 to go on, aka Kearney, to go on the chat on my stream and start putting the name Steve Scanlon out there. So people are like, who's Steve Scanlon? Like, get the name Steve Scanlon out there. Get people talking about this mofo. You know, get him in the chat.
We just stirred the pot. And then Aidan called Stephen and recorded it.
Again, these were the good old days. This was the good old days. Now it's like, let's go to James Jackson. You know, let's go with him instead. Times have changed.
And then Aidan was like, oh my gosh, look what I have. And he set it as a private link. So you could only watch that. You couldn't go on his page and find it. It was a very private link.
So run that through again, how Aidan became aware of Scanlon. It was the first time that he heard of it was on the comments on the YouTube Live?
No, Karen told us that that's how she put the story together, because that morning she was so confused and so hungover.
Yeah, but how'd she get it? How'd she get who Scanlon was?
Because he went to Yannetti's office. And
How much time you got?
Scanlon said, like, this, there's something wrong with the story. They were beat up in the house. Somebody told me that he was beat up in the house.
But then Karen, knowing to put out on social media, she directed you or to ask who is the Scanlon?
To scare Scanlon.
What?
Why would Karen want to scare Scanlon?
Hopefully have him talk. I don't know.
And what was why beforehand capture all those pictures?
She wants to scare Scanlon into talking. Oh my God.
Because Karen did that, especially with like that's how she was able to get all the pictures of the Alberts and the McCabe's and all those kids and show that Proctor's
keep in mind, they're doing all this instead of figuring out who's driving the Ford Edge.
Wrote to Chris Albert, you guys are my second family. So Karen is heavily on Facebook and studies Facebook like no other. And so that was like a very big tool for her to realize that these folks really do know each other.
But it seems like Scanlon was important to her. So what, capturing Facebook pictures she could use against him?
I don't know.
Okay.
We just did it. There was no rhyme or reason, or like, it was like, let's just get all his pictures as many as we can before he locks his page or before he deletes it. Because I guess that's what happened with McCabe and Proctor, is they ended up like locking their pages or limiting it, you know, and not making it a public page.
Okay. You had mentioned to me before that maybe Aidan had met for lunch with Jackson and Yannetti.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Tell me about the lunch.
So-
was there a ham sandwich? Was there a ham sandwich?
Aidan really wanted to sit in the court, and he really wanted to be in the courthouse. And
yeah, I just kind of walked in, Natalie. You don't need a fucking ticket. Back then, no one used to go to court hearings. You just walk in.
This was another time Karen snapped at me, and I told her, I said, Aidan wants to sit in the car, wants to sit in the courthouse. And she's like, Natalie, I can't be bothered with this. You know, I have bigger fish to fry. I have the attorneys here all week. You know, like, leave me alone about this. And I said, Karen, he's done so much for you. Like, just get him proper seating in the courthouse.
Yeah,
like,
Natalie.
We owe this to him. You owe this to him. And she goes, fine, have him call John Silvera, and he can go.
Hey, Natalie advocated for me. Natalie had my back.
John Silvera. And that was another thing that I used against Aidan, was I said, you know, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have gone into the courthouse.
That's fake.
So then Karen told me that after the May 3rd court hearing that they were going to all convene at the Omni Seaport and to tell Aidan. And so I told Aidan, and Aidan's like, I feel out of place. I don't feel right. I don't fit in. I said, Aidan, play your cards right. Alan Jackson's going to be there. Like, this is how you move up in life. You know, you schmooze with the right people. You socialize with the right people.
I didn't feel comfortable. I'm like, I've never talked to them. I've never talked to Karen. I'm like, out in public, I'm going to go in a hotel lobby and I'm going to be seen with them. Is that what we really want to do? And Natalie's like, you need to meet with them. You need to schmooze. Natalie was all about like my professional career. She's always like, oh, we're going to get you the Netflix docu. Aidan, you got to get you an agent. But you got to stop saying cunts, and you got to drop the Trump stuff, and you got to do this. And we got to do this. And here's how we're going to market this. Here's how we're going to do that. Here's how you're going to meet AJ. She was like fucking so controlling. It's like, oh my God.
That's how you climb up this ladder, you know? Because he was on his way home and he didn't want to go. He was too shy. And I said, Aidan, pull over. And so he's like, well, there's 2 Omni Seaports. I don't know which one it is. So I remember I was standing in the middle of the factory, and I call the Omni Seaports and I figure it out, or whatever. I call both of them and I asked if there was a party under Jackson, under Reed, under Yannetti. None of them could tell me. And then in the meantime, Aidan's like, I figured out which one they're at. Okay, I'm on my way. And then he thanked me and he's like, thank you so much for pushing me. I had a great time. And
It's
Ian
showtime.
Jackson is like such a cool guy, and Karen's parents are so cool.
He was.
And Karen is just like the nicest, down to earth person. And I was like, see, you just have to have a little bit of confidence, you know. The only thing he didn't listen to me is I told him, I said, when you go to court, you can't go like cartoon character with turtle tie and lime green shirt. Like maybe go in neutral colors and
Neutral colors.
you know, maybe put some moisturizer on. And you know, but he didn't listen to me. He went on that court hearing. He went with the whole get up, the sign, the tie, and the green lime green shirt and a black jacket or something.
Well, that was before I had a stylist, Natalie. That's not fair. I hadn't met my stylist yet. I didn't get my stylist till after I got arrested, and so I did go and I wore a black suit with the bright green shirt and a turtle boy tie. I used to wear the turtle boy tie to court all the time. My stylist does not let me wear the turtle boy tie. She thinks it's like juvenile. And so, you know, and it doesn't match any of my shirts either. So my I didn't wear any moisturizer. But it's like, in my stylist is like black suits. She's like, I don't do black suits. No black suits. Only Carl Dougal wears black suits, you know, but moisturizer maybe.
And that's pretty much it.
The moisturizer.
That's pretty much it.
Earlier, did you ever mention, did you ever donate to Karen Reed? Or
I did. I did.
How much is that?
I donated $1,000 to Karen.
What kind of question?
And then I donated another time of $50 to Karen, and to Aidan I donated $300. I know I should have donated it to like babies with AIDS or. I'm an idiot. I feel fooled. I feel duped.
I should have donated it to babies with AIDS. The comments out of this fucking interview, like this is a real police interview, and this was all put in the affidavit to get Karen Reed's phone. All of this, some of this shit was useful for Tully for getting the phone. Babies with AIDS, as if that's a fucking charity you could do. 1-800 Babies with AIDS LLC.
Like I'm embarrassed. It's an egg in my face. As you guys know, my parents and my husband have been very against my involvement since day one, especially my husband.
Especially.
And when they saw that I donated money to her defense fund, the shit really hit the fan. But you know, I'm not perfect, and I don't claim to be, and it is what it is. And the only thing I can do is learn from it and move forward and do what I think is right. And I can't beat myself up about it, and I can't be scared anymore.
You can't do it.
That's okay.
All right, we'll end recording at 1:50.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. What a waste of time that was. Whoa, it scared me, Vinny. So that was interesting. That's insane. Like that interview cracks me up. I'm so glad we listened to that start to finish. And if you Google Natalie on my name too, look, we have Natalie Cellebrite report. We got it in Discovery. Okay, I'm fine. I have my friends in the Crips that would do anything for me. I'm not scared of anyone harming me. Plus, I live a very sheltered life. No one can touch me, Natalie says. Okay. So she's got her friends in the Crips. They're going to protect her. All right. What else do we Babies with AIDS is just killing me. They laid the golden egg. Then Natalie showed up. She showed up in some sort of like striped muumuu on August 9th for one of the hearings when the blue shirts showed up. She showed up with them. There was some sort of party for Natalie. What's this one say? Put it like this. I grew up with Kim Kardashian in that whole circle. This is her husband. Her husband's, this is an old tweet. Her husband sent a text message to her on August 16th saying, make her, the baby that bathes for 45 minutes, go to sleep so we can have sex. Again, Tully did not, I think they were supposed to taint team this shit. Tully just gave it to all. The only thing Tully took out of the freaking reports for her and the fake victim were shit involving him. He let us see all this stuff. That like Natalie's husband saying, make her go to sleep so we can have sex. There she is. There she is. Natalie, Nat Daddy. Oh. What are these? The car moves. Joe Warren says. Oh, yes, that's right. It totally moves. This is when she backs into the Traverse. I wasn't 100% sure until I saw it. She's 1,000% innocent, Joe Warren says. And he goes, I thought I could trust you. You definitely can't trust her, Joe. Here's Lindsay Gattani telling me. Actually, we should. Well, I could read that another time. Let's see. At least I have the peace of mind that I was the source to Turtle Boy for uncovering the century's biggest police cover-up. She was the source, she says. Okay. He's now infamous. He's now famous because of me. So Natalie made me who I am to this day. How about that? And the people who matter know I'm the source, but she totally doesn't want any credit for any of this. What else? We got anything more Natalie here? Okay. Yeah. So that's Natalie. All right, cool. Let me read some turtle chats. She's something, isn't she? Now, I mean, she's funny. She's also horrible, but she's unintentionally funny. All right. Let's see what we got here for turtle chats. We got Lisa Marie, blessed mom from Texas, sends $15 and says, love you, Aidan. Holding your own. Love that. Stay strong, friend. I'll forever have your back. Stand with you always. Free speech matters. Love you, Lisa Marie. Appreciate it. Mammy Jammy sends 25 smackaroos and says, most cell phones have an option that you can activate that alerts you when you're in the vicinity of an AirTag or tracker. Google your phone model to learn how to turn it on. Well, it can't. It's the tracker is not what's happening because somebody mentioned my son there. They knew I was with my son. $25 from Elizabeth and says, my 12-year-old grandson overheard you discussing the turtle on the banister and confidently said, so some people don't like him because he tells the truth. Keep speaking the truth and stand strong, Dr. Turtle Boy. We support you. Well, thank you. You have a brilliant grandson there, Elizabeth. Beta say my name again, sends $5 and says, Wissentoodle, we totted. I love Yannetti as well. I truly love that man. Exactly. SoCal Turtle Rider sends $5, goes, please play this if you have time. It is an Emily C video. Maybe we can end that. I'll just have it queued up here about Cellebrite. I will have that queued up.
Cellebrite.
Okay. Actually, let's just watch it right now because we love Emily. Let's pull this up.
Ask the Experts, brought to you by our generous sponsors, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, in partnership with the McCabe's. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a desperate edition of Ask the Expert. I'm Heather Barnhart, and I'm here with Ian Whiffin, the sexy genius who influenced both Karen Reed trials. The trials were like a super onion. They were like a media circus, and our very own handsome, intelligent Ian Whiffin was the ringmaster of that circus. Ian, I applaud you for your patience and for not flipping out. There were many times I wanted to flip out on your behalf, so I was emotionally in this with you. For those of you that don't know Ian, he's not just the brilliant mind of forensics. He's also our decoding manager here at Cellebrite. So he takes all the things that are stored in that lovely, brilliant brain of his and tries to dump them back into the tools for everyone else that needs Ian's brain to help us. All right, Ian, are you ready for some questions? I am. Go for it. We'll start with an easy one that's probably really straightforward. Why were you brought into this case? I got into this because of a true crime podcaster. But during the trial, I also said the NCDAO and the Mass State Police brought me in. Oh, and also Richard Green and Cellebrite Public Relations. So take your pick. Cellebrite updated physical analyzer based upon your defense of Jen McCabe. Tell us about that research. It didn't look really good for the prosecution that someone had searched for Hoslong, which meant how long, Hoslong to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m. before anybody had found John in the snow. So we updated our software so that you never know what time anybody searched for anything. What we were really saying, Ian, is that Cellebrite chose to make the tool better for users, and we weren't trying to be part of some giant conspiracy of Karen Reed. Oh yes, no, we would never update any of our tools for any reason other than a paycheck.
That's funny shit. See, I love it. I love it. She's so good. She's so funny. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing that. SoCal Turtle Rider. Appreciate that. V Peric sends $10 and goes, we got a long one here. I got to keep it short. What up, Turtle? The so-called war going on right now is unbelievably silly. I'm a bit of a true crime nut, as it reminds me of how a lot of true crime stories bring out some narcissists trying to insert themselves. Most overused word in the English language, by the way. I think TB derangement syndrome is a version of that. These people just want to be connected to something important. It validates their narcissistic feelings of self-importance. Okay, it goes on and on and on. Thank you for that. But yeah, I do think Turtle Boy derangement syndrome is a really big, real thing. Like, it's like, I'm not kidding. It's fucking real. And I don't care if it's not like recognized by the AMA or whatever. Like, that shit's real as shit, man. Like, it is an amazing syndrome that just causes people who once supported you to like lose their mind and flip. And it's not just because of me, because it's not me, it's you guys. Like, Crawford was on here last night, and one thing that he said, and it's just, and you can tell, and I think the kangaroo lady too is affected by this. It's not me that causes the turtle derangement syndrome. It's you guys. It's the chat. Like, that's what really they are like. They can deal with me. I'm kind of reasonable. Like, I was very reasonable with Crawford and whatever, but it's the chat that gets to them. They can't stand the fact that I have a very large and rabid following, right? That defends me very much. Like, my followers are very, very protective of me, more so than me. I'm not nearly as protective of myself as you guys are. And like, so they don't, it's like, that's what really causes the turtle derangement syndrome is not me, because I'm just one man. It's the chat. You know what I mean? It's the turtle riders that they don't want that, and that radicalizes them. And then they feel like their back is up against the wall, and then they just fucking go to the extreme and they're like, actually, fuck Turtle Boy. Actually, everything I believed 5 minutes ago, I no longer believe that anymore. I've just changed my mind about fucking everything. And actually, Turtle Boy's evil. So there we go. It's a really real thing. So thank you. Next, Sandy D sends $50 and goes, message to all the fools who keep telling Aidan what words he shouldn't use, how he should run his channel, how he should handle his personal affairs, etc. Kindly mind your own business and just entertainment you came here for. Exactly. If this is what I mean by the chat is more defensive of me than I am. If you're so smart and you know how to succeed in life, get back to killing it and trust Aidan as an adult. Free Turtle Boy. Thank you. And so, like, this brings me up. Like, so last night, Crawford, one of the things he said was that, like, he thinks that I'm above it. Like, that I should not punch down. Like, I should not, no more ratchets, no more Lindsay Stacchinis of the world, none of that shit, that I should be focusing on bigger fish. And it's kind of like a backhanded compliment. It is like you guys kind of took that as an insult. The chat took that as like the general sentiment I was seeing from the chat was like, bro, slow your roll. He's fucking Turtle Boy. Like, he built this shit being himself. I think the guy knows what he's doing. Let him be him. That's how he got here, you know? Whereas I took it as that's interesting, constructive criticism that I will think about, you know, that I'll think about. Right. I'm not saying I will do it like that. I'm not saying that I will, but like he was complimenting me when he said that. Like, he was saying it that like he admired what I do. He likes what I do. He supports what I do. Right. He just thinks that I could be a better version of myself like that. And so I'm not saying I agree with that, with what he was saying, but it wasn't like an insult. He was not insulting me at all. Some people thought he was insulting me. I don't think he was. Okay. And you guys are more defensive of me than I am. And I saw him when he was up there the whole time, he was doing this thing. That means they're looking at the chat. When they're doing that, they're reading the chat. And so he's like reading the chat, and it's like making him more mad because everyone in the chat's like, shut the fuck up, Crawford. You don't know what you're talking about. It's fucking Turtle Boy. He built this shit. And I'm up here being reasonable, and he's reading the chat. So he's like, people associate the chat with me. Like, and he's like, why aren't you telling the chat to stop? You know, why aren't you telling Will to stop? I don't do that. I don't tell the chat to stop. I don't tell Will to stop. They are what they are. You know, they are their own independent entity, and they have my back. So I don't know. You know, it is what it is. All right, next. Laura Twin number 1. Marquesi sends $10 and goes, Aidan, we fully support you. I made a joke, probably not funny to you, that my son loves superheroes in any action shows. He says activate every time he does anything. That's what these crazies do every time you call them out in an Instagram message. You're mad. Restraining order activate. Free Turtle Boy. You seem like a nice guy. Thank you, Laura. I am a nice guy. No offense. I know a lot of guys who aren't nice guys say they're nice guys. But I think I'm a pretty nice guy, to be perfectly honest with you. So thank you very much. Laura sends $5, goes, do you think Karen went to Higgy's house? Do you think the night she went to Higgy's house, he had whiskey dick? If so, do you think that's the reason why she ghosted him? Did she really go to his house? Did she go to his? I don't know. I've never found that out. I don't know if they were intimate or not. None of my business. I don't really care. But put it this way. I mean, if he did, Higgy's got like erection problems, big time. I would bet the farm on that Higgy has issues getting it up because he's not in good shape. Okay. And I'm sorry, but like, if you're not in good shape, it's like, it helps, you got to get in good shape, right? You feel more confident. You feel, you know what I mean? You feel good about yourself. Like Higgy has to look at himself and just be like, oh, well, I'm gross, right? How can you even, I'm disgusted. Like I wouldn't watch a porno with me in it. That's how he looks at it. It's like, I would not watch a porno with a guy that fucking fat and disgusting and gross. And it's like, if you can't get turned on by yourself a little bit, you know what I mean? That I'm telling you, and with all the Jameson and gingers, right? No fucking way. And plus, and also like erectile dysfunction's like 90% in your head. It's all in your fucking head. If you get in the mentality that like, I'm not, oh fuck, keep it up, stay up, don't go down. It's going to go down. It's guaranteed. I could I could coach a fucking class on this. It's all about confidence, right? If you even think in your head, like, please stay up. Please don't lose this. Please, you're going to lose it. It's a fucking guarantee. Guarantee. You can't ever, that thought can't ever cross your head. Ever. That's a guaranteed way you're going to lose it. So I guarantee he's got like confidence issues like that. Plus all the Jameson and ginger, plus Karen, it was a little bit out of his league, right? No fucking way he had a functional dick at all. No way. Absolutely not. So I don't know if that's why she ghosted him, but there's certainly no way that guy actually, had like actual sexual intercourse that lasted fucking, 20 minutes and ended with one of them coming. No fucking way. Impossible. Next. Samantha sends $15 and goes, mini paragraph alert. Read it. Off topic. Where'd it go? But I always hear you say that you owe Karen a thank you. No, you fucking don't. Karen is interchangeable. You're up against the state police. You expose them, and now they are trying to shut you up. Truth hates exposure. Keep being you. The world needs truth. Well, again, the official policy here that we put on Kirkman and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I owe her thank you, not vice versa. She made me who I am, and that's it. So I don't even want to argue about that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next, Nick sends $10 and goes, it sounds when she says she donated to you guys that they had to have made a face or shook their head the way she says, I know, I shouldn't have donated. I should have donated to babies with AIDS. I could imagine Tully writing that down in his notebook and shaking his head. That's true. It did sound like that. It did sound like she was like corrected, like, I'm so sorry, guys. And they're like, you donated? Fuck, what's wrong with you, bitch? What about the babies with AIDS? They fucking have AIDS still. They wouldn't have AIDS if you diverted the $300 that you gave Karen Reed to babies with AIDS. There would be 4 less babies with AIDS. $75 per kid. AIDS disappears from babies if you just fucking pony up some cash. $75 a baby. That's it. 4 babies could have been saved. And now they got AIDS forever. And they're going to die because they don't have the vaccine, because they're living in fucking Somalia. They don't have good health care there. So all these Somalian babies with AIDS, they're dead because of Natalie's poor decisions. Nice going, Nat. Good job. All right. We have any more? Okay, let me read some cash apps. We got here. The Path Forward sends $5, goes, I can't stop calling him Sir Ian Whiffin because of you. That's just what I call him. He's a sir. He's Sir Ian Whiffin. Thank you. EMC sends $10 and goes, Ted Stryker from Airplane is Natalie. Oh, and Chad sends another $5. Goes, Natalie equals the oral oracle. See, that's what I'm talking about, Chad. That's the kind of message you send that makes no sense. And that's why I love you. Thank you. Brian sends $5 and goes, you chased away JFK and the boys. You're a piece of shit. How did I chase him away? How did I chase him away? JFK was texting me things today. He texts just like he fucking talks. Like I can't help but read it in JFK voice. Like he's messaging me. Tonight, I will stream with no drama, even though everyone is waiting on me to react to the OG glare, and I will take it a day at a time. Not because I'm playing games, but to prove I ain't about the drama and make a statement by actions. But after that, we will see, in Aidan voice. Karen don't control me or my content or tells me anything. She told me things that she said I could repeat about you, and I chose not to. Okay. So this is what JFK, I mean, he literally writes like in JFK voice the whole time. Like I'll read this one. I didn't even know what this one meant. He goes, listen, honestly, I am not your enemy or getting any joy out of this shit. I go, never considered you an enemy. And he goes, views and money. That shit is false. I do all right without YouTube. And I do all right on YouTube, being me without drama. So the money is a stretch. I don't even know what he's talking about. Be clear. But to be clear to others, this is all they got. They only claim 1099. This is all they ever had. And I am the topic. And you are. But unfortunately, I will defend myself. And you are going to catch the heat. Not by design, my man. By clown. Who I yapping. I don't know what any of that means. None. I have no fucking clue. When he talks in JFK dialect, I don't know what any of this shit means. I don't know your conversations with her. Maybe she pissed at you. Okay, I'm not going to read all this, but yeah. But some of this shit he writes, it's just like, okay, I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds like you're upset with Ray from Dallas and Will still, who, again, I have no control over them. You don't see him up here, do you? Like I think they were in the chat tonight. It's a free country. It's a free chat. They're welcome in the chat. JFK's welcome in the chat. James Amaral's welcome in the chat. Just keep them away from the 19-year-olds, please. Right? But everyone's welcome in the chat. Right? I don't know what they say. I don't have time to read the chat. It is what it is. So, all right, cool. Anyone else got anything to say before we call it a night here? I didn't miss any turtle chats today. Nah, we're good. I gotta do JFK voice more often. Like he writes in like he writes like one sentence and like ... enter. It's like reading Reddington's. Remember Reddington's like Facebook posts? You're like, what the fuck? What is this format? But okay. Anybody again? I'm good. I don't want any whatever. If he does talk about me, I don't care. Like I'm just so over this shit. Like we're still talking about this topic, bro. Come on. Now you got like the Crusties of the world are onto this now. Like they've kind of taken over. So good job. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you guys for another good hump day, a special hump day one. We're going to do Turtle Club Sex Call tomorrow night. So we'll see you guys all there at 9:30 p.m. sharp. All right. Peace to your bum, crease, turtle riders, and brush your teeth.
It calls for